All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakak Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and I rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So we're going to, we starting out here again with another week of weekly prophecy here in the belly of the beast here in Babylon. All right, we still have these prophecies that's taking place, and we're getting closer and closer to the end. All right, like the scriptures say, when you see all these things, look up, for your salvation is nearer than what we believe. All right, and as we see these things coming down the pipeline, for certain people, like the scriptures say, they're going to get caught like a thief in the night, get caught unawares. All right, they're so-called drunk out here. All right, they're looking at these things as so-called getting bad. Things are getting bad out here. Things are getting uneasy out here. Things are getting harder and harder for you to survive out here. But, ultimately, we know as the elect, Lord's will would be a part of that number, that the fact of the matter is, hey, it's getting bad and worse and worse for Esau, man. This is his kingdom coming to an end. All right, so this is pretty much like our captivity, man. All right, to give you a quick analogy, it's more or less like we've been in prison. All right, but now the prison is running out of funds to be able to hold us in. All right, and once they, can't make their last payment, what are they going to be forced to do is to let us go. All right, so, hey, as that prisoner, you shouldn't be upset that the prison is running out of funds and everything else like that, that they, they can't afford to feed you the type of meals that they was feeding you before. They can't afford to keep the AC or the heat on like they was able to before. They aren't able to keep the lights on like they were before, man. All right, you should be rejoicing. Yes, an uncomfortable feeling at the point in time, but yeah, at the end all be all, that your days are limited, man. All right, once they can't, they're shortening the amount of time that the lights are on. Hey, once they can't afford to have the lights on, the electricity on no more, the water running in that place, you're about to be up out of there, man. In the same way we can sit here and watch, Babylon circle the drain here, man. We can sit here and watch Esau pretty much, unravel his own self, man. We can see these curses falling upon him as far as, the curses coming off of Jacob onto Esau, him having an evil eye towards his brother. All right, him about to wage war against his own nations and things like that, or his allies waging war against him. All right, so we see all these things coming to pass. All right, we see that, these prophecies are starting to speak loud and clear. All right, but nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and start out with this here, scripture here, and then I'm going to get into a couple articles. But, hey, again, as far as, measuring the times diligently, man, we can clearly see, all right, these things are coming to pass, man. Again, we're not getting caught like a thief in the night because, wow, we're watching. All right, we're constantly watching these things and measuring the times, man. All right, we're seeing these prophecies starting to speak. Let me go ahead and read it real quick. Habakkuk 2:1 says, "And I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved." All right, reproved. So, hey, we're sitting on the watchtower right now, man. We're watching, we're seeing how far off these prophecies are, man. Seeing how far off our salvation is, man. Just by looking at these prophecies and able to see, hey, when this comes to pass, that's going to come to pass, and this is going to come to pass next. We know salvation is right after, we have a couple different precepts that we can go to line those things up, just for a small example. All right, when he's about to fill his belly. All right, when he's about to try to implement his enterprise, his new world order. All right, the Most High is going to disappoint the device of his hand, so he can't perform his enterprise. And when he's about to fill his belly, what? The Most High is going to rain it upon him. Rain what upon him? The iron weapon. When the iron weapon is rained down upon us, hey, the Most High say, hey, look, I will deliver thee in 6 troubles, and in 7, roughly paraphrasing, 7 is not going to touch you, meaning, hey, we're going to be, changed in an instant, in the twinkle of an eye, man. He's going to say, come up hither. All right, that's when we're going to be redeemed up out of this here place, man. So, hey, we can see these things that are coming to pass to shape up these final prophecies, man. But nevertheless, hey, we're right here in the belly of the beast, and we're on the watchtower still, prophesying unto you, letting you know. Let me read the next verse. It says, "And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." And that's why, we spend so much time into these prophecies, man. Going in these prophecies and these articles and things like that. So, hey, to keep your faith built up and keep you on fire about these things, man. Because, hey, if you wouldn't watch, we were sitting here just talking about all kind of other things, how to make garments and everything else like that, man. And you will grow comfortable in this here place, man. You will grow to a point to where it's just like, oh, you don't have that sense of urgency, man. As long as you have that sense of urgency of what these prophecies are taking place, man. If you have in your mind that, the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, is one of the final prophecies, man. And you constantly keep seeing that drum being beat in the news every single day. You on edge. All right, we about to get up out of here real soon. We about to get up out of here real soon. So you constantly, hastening the day. You're constantly looking towards the Lord, man. You don't have time to get stagnant or to get weak and to, stop watching, stop believing, man. Or you see a constant thing of World War III and things like that, man. The constant buildup of Russia and everything else like that. You starting to see, hey, man, The Lord is working behind the scenes, man. The Lord is moving these prophecies on along. So you'll constantly have your mind, towards the Lord and watching what the Lord is saying to you, man. All right, but nevertheless, hey, when you out here, worried about the not so expedient things, more or less to say, that's when you wind up getting comfortable. So this is why it's important to constantly be watching for prophecy, man. Constantly be watching for, and understanding how these things are. Oh, this ties into this way. This ties into that way, And so, we're gonna get into some of those things, about, economic collapses and things like that, famines in diverse places and things like that, based off of what? You watching and being able to, let me read it again. Habakkuk 2:2, it says, and Yahweh answered me and says, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. So you, as a so-called student learning these things, how you gonna, well, what the hell is Ukraine and Russia got to do with us? What that got to do with prophecy and things like that? Well, you do understand that there's a lot of wheat and produce that's exported from over in their region. So if you got these two people that's over here at war with one another, what is that going to do? All right, it's going to cause a influx of famines and things like that, man. So you would know, hey, man, let me read the next verse. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So if we've been giving you this here vision and breaking it down into you so you're able to decipher what's going on. Oh, shit, when this happens, that's going to happen. This is going to lead to that. All right, then you start to see it coming to pass. All right, and we can speak on what the MOTB. All right, we pretty much beat that like a dead horse, and we're gonna continue to beat it because, hey, that's a major prophecy. But nevertheless, when you see that prophecy, you starting to see certain things like with the medical situation that was happening, all right, or this thing with the CBDCs and things like that, and we've been so-called beating it like a dead horse over and over and over and over again. Hey, man, you should be to the point where you see certain headlines and articles, oh shit, now this prophecy is speaking loud and clear. Now this prophecy is coming to pass. This is what this is talking about. But if we weren't constantly going into prophecies and things like that, it just slipped right through people's minds. They'll see things going on, but they won't understand these things. They'll hear things and they won't be able to perceive these things, man. You can sit there and tell it to them. Well, yeah, this is the Ukraine scenario with Russia. That's going to lead to ultimately into World War III. Oh, how is that going to do this? How is that going to do that? Well, you have to understand about the beast starting to hate the whore and how these things are putting that wrench between the beast, all right, in the whore, based off of their trade with Russia, all right, and energy and things like that. So, hey, this is why we're on the highways and the byways, all right, as the visionaries, to make this here vision plain unto you, make it clear unto you, man, to prophesy, to see, to show you this here vision, man, all right. So, hey, this is why we constantly going into, the scriptures say, the spirit of Yahweh is the spirit of prophecy, man. So, hey, as far as, bringing in the return of Yahweh, well, it's going to be based off of what? The prophecies, man. All right, let me read this again. It says, Habakkuk 2:1, and I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. All right, so that's our job to break these things down unto you, man. All right, to constantly keep this word, constantly be occupied for one end, constantly be occupied in prophecy, but also to constantly, break it down unto you, to feed you with these things, man. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. All right, and you have certain, prophecies that are for a long time off, especially these end time prophecies. We've been telling you about different things, and Lord's will, we'll be able to touch on it as well, too. Jacob's trouble, all right, we've been telling you about that as well, too. But, it seems like, you had a couple years back where you had the Trayvon Martins and everything else like that, where it seemed like that prophecy was hot on fire. But, hey, there's a certain place and a time and an order for these things to come to pass. The Most High has a certain how do I put it, a certain time frame or a certain or ordering of things that he has to come to play. All right, give me 1 second. Let me see. Let me just get to the point. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 of verse 1, it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. All right, and that's just plain and clear to the point, man. All right, because let me read it again. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So, hey, some people will say everything happens for a reason. Everything happens right on time. And I think like that as well, too. Hey, man, you're always at the right place at the right time, man. All right, there's not like, I give people a scenario sometimes when they be like, oh, so-and-so just died unexpectedly. Like, hey, man, nobody popped up in the spirit realm and surprise Yahweh and Yahweh. Oh shit, what you doing here? We wasn't expecting you for another 3-4 years. Nah, man, when you require before the throne, you require before the throne. So that's your time. Same with these other prophecies, man. To us, it seems like these things are far off. To us, it seems like the scripture says it's not gonna lie though it tarry. Wait for it. It seems to us that it's tarrying, but hey, like the scripture also say, no man know the time of the day, but the Most High. All right, but nevertheless, it's all, you know, we in our minds it seems like things is for far off. All right, let me find this other precept. Let me grab 2 precepts real quick. This is Matthew 20:24. Man, let me get a little bit of meat off of this real quick. Let me go up a little bit. Matthew 24. I'm gonna start at verse 32. It says, "Now learn the parable of a fig tree, of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, he putteth forth leaves. You know that summer is nigh. So likewise, you know, and going into that, you know, it's just like, you know, certain seasons when certain fruits and trees and plants are supposed to spring forth and blossom and things like that. You know that's that time frame. You know, just like for instance, to put it to you in the most lamest terms ever, right? If you didn't know what season you were living in, all right, if you was oblivious to all these different things, if you was living in a place where it snowed at, you was like, okay, well, I heard that it snows in the wintertime. I can tell that it's wintertime. You know, they told me about the description of what winter would be like. You know, this white stuff will be falling from the sky, be extremely cold outside. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that okay, obviously this is wintertime because putting 2 and 2 together. This is what was described, and this is what I'm seeing. This is obviously what it is. All right, I was described like if you live in a place where you have a fall time, okay, all the trees turn color, the leaves fall off the trees and things like that. I know it's fall time, man. All right, you know it's springtime because now all the plants are coming back on the tree. You can measure those times diligently by looking at the things going on around you, man. All right, let me read the next verse. It says, or let me go back up, verse 32, Matthew 24 and 32. "Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, he putteth forth leaves. Ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door." All right, and that's going at what? Into, you know, when we read, we're going to read further down. You know, people say, oh, no man knows the day or the hour, which we were about to read. True enough, but what the word, the scripture is saying right now, what Yahushua is saying is, hey, basically, measure the times diligently. And how you going to measure the times diligently? Based off of the signs. What are the signs? These prophecies that's coming to pass, man. These prophecies that the Lord told us about beforehand, man. The vision is just for an appointed time, man. All right, it's something to far off, man. All right, it's just like you, let's say you about to build a house or a building or putting together a project. You know, maybe, you know, as a kid you put together model cars and things like that. You know, you have a vision of what it's supposed to look like before, or a puzzle. You know what it's supposed to look like beforehand before you put all the pieces together. Then there's the point in time, you know, where the pieces get put together and everything else like that. Or you're sketching up a model or something, you know, a blueprint or something. First you sketch out the design, you have a vision of it in your head. All right, I want this to look like this. I want that to look like that. And then you put it forth and then you build it all up and everything gets put together. Then it comes to life, man. All right, but that's pretty much how these things are. All right, the Most High gave his word, all right, and you know, it was caused to be written in paper, all right, but through time, these prophecies are starting to come together, all right, as the completion of this here vision, man. All right, and that's what we're telling you about. So let's read that again. It says, so likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of the day and hour knoweth no man, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. All right, so hey, basically, you know, these Christians in church, they would say, hey, no man knows the day or the hour, and they would hold on to that. But you know, they're not understanding what they're saying, man. No man knows the day or the hour, the exact day. June 21st at 7:15 a.m. This is when it's gonna pop off. No man is able to say those things, but what we are able, just like, hey, you know, they tell you about when a child is born. All right, your due date when the child is gonna be born, right? Hey, but they don't quite know because, you know, you can have laborers that take up to 24 hours. They can have what they call a premature baby, where the baby's born ahead of the time, all right, or the baby's born after the time, man. So, you know, they can't give you a day or the hour. All right, your baby going, you know, they'll tell you a day and a day, but, you know, they can't say, okay, the baby going to be born on July 21st at 6:38 a.m. You know, they can't quite tell you that because, again, you know, certain things can happen, man. You can, some kind of freak accident can happen to how do I put it? to speed up the birth process. You know, you should go into early labor or something like that, you know. But hey, same with these here prophecies, man. The only person that knows when these things are going to come to pass like that is what? The Most High. He's the ultimate script writer. But what? He gave us signs. Just like, again, in the woman having the baby scenario. Hey, you don't know about the day or the hour when that baby going to be born, but guess what? You know when that woman water break, you better get your ass to the hospital, because that's a major sign that the baby's going to be born. Then what? You get more signs than that, man. You get the contractions, man. First the water breaks. All right, you know, you get a lot of different signs, you know, from the time she conceives. You know, she goes from a flat stomach woman, all right, till you start to see her belly grow. Those are signs, oh, the baby is growing. Now that baby, that stomach is all the way out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she's due any day now. You know, that water could break any day now. You know, that's where we at right now. The water could break any day now with these things that's going on, man, because the stage is set. All right, but then what? Once that water break, things start accelerating. All right, then you start going into what? The birth pains or the labor pains, man, those contractions. Then those contractions start coming, you know, that pain, you know, is from one point to another point. You know, they start off far off, but they get closer and closer and closer. Let me go up a couple verses. To verse Matthew 24, I'm going to start at verse 21. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." So things are going to get worse and worse and worse. Just like for that woman that's giving birth, all right, you know, things go from worse to worse to worse. You know, she started out, you know, day number 1. You know, she's in the bedroom, she's having sex with her husband and everything else like that. She's just you know, she feels like she feels any other day, man. You know, he winds up impregnating her that night. She don't really feel nothing, man. But then she started out with what? That morning sickness, right? First little sign of something. Then, you know, her body starts going through those changes. You know, then she start gaining that weight. Then she start, you know, hurting on her feet. Then her water breaks. Now she's going into these contractions. Now these contractions start bringing forth pain. Now as that baby starting to show his head, oh, now she's going through some real actual pain. You know what I'm saying? So things are getting worse and worse and worse as the time goes along, right? So it says, "And except those days," verse 22, "and except those days should be shortened, there shall be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened." All right, and that's what you pretty much seeing going on, man. All right, and for that woman's sake, man. All right, those contractions are coming faster and faster and faster, so that what? That baby just actually comes up out of her, because look, she's gonna go through a painful moment, a painful time and everything, but once that baby comes up out of her, man, those pains are, you know, are forgotten about, man. All right, that's the same thing that we have going on right now, man. You know, things are gonna get worse and worse and worse until what? You know, the ultimate, you know, the ultimate judgment comes when what? Those well, the MOTB is implemented, but ultimately when those missiles come down, man, that's that last and final push. All right, when those missiles start raining down, then guess what? We're gonna be, Lord's will, we be a part of that number. We be beamed up into those chariots, man. All right, and that's gonna be the last of our pain, man. All right, then what? The Lord, we can read it real quick and we'll get back on topic. Revelation 21:4 says, "And Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things have passed away." So, hey, once we shed these bodies and we go up into those chariots, man, that's going to be akin to what? That woman finally giving that last push and the baby coming out. And, you know, she breathes like that and she holds her, oh, it's a little baby boy or a little baby girl. You know, all the pains of her pushing and everything else like that is gone away, man. All right, no more pains, no more sorrows, no more contractions, no more none of these things, man. All right, because ultimately now all of a sudden, hey, those pains are passed away. But let's go back. Matthew 24, going back to verse 37. Oh, let me go back to, did we read? Yeah, we finished that. Let's go back up to verse 37. Matthew 24 and 37. It says, let me go back to verse 36. It says, "But of the day and the hour knoweth no man, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as the days were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not, until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." All right, so, you know, going into that, you have, you know, a time like we have right now, man. You know, this is the city that dwelleth carelessly. You have people that are eating and drinking and giving into marriage, you know, more or less partying it up, man. You have wedding anniversaries going on. You have weddings actually going on, birthday parties going on, baby showers going on, graduation celebrations going on. You know, all kind of eventful parties, what they call, not cakes, bread and circuses going on. All right, people just partying just to party, man. Hey, we going downtown for the weekend. We gonna turn up. You know, hey, when we out on the highways and the byways, you know, by the end of the night, man, the streets be crowded, man, where people are eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage, man. Not knowing that, hey, World War III's right around the corner, man. The MOTB's right around the corner, man. You have Jacob's Trouble right around the corner, man. But it's the same way in the days of Noah, man. As Noah was out there preaching and prophesying and building up this here ark for so long, they didn't realize that those storm clouds were slowly approaching their ass, man. That final day of doom was slowly approaching their ass, man. But what, they kept just turning up and enjoying their life and everything else like that until what? All of a sudden, the Lord closed the doors of the ark, all right, and brought that storm, man. Same thing that's going on right now, man. You know, hey, that woman, again, going back to that woman being pregnant, she's walking around her belly out and everything and celebrating, taking pictures with her baby bump out and everything else like that on Facebook and everything, not realizing that, hey, man, that day is going to finally come when that water breaks, man. And those smiles are going to be turning into frowns, man. You're going to be going through some serious birth pains, man. Then you actually got to go through it, man. Then you actually got to go through, how they say, through that fiery furnace, man. All right, and that's the times that we're coming up upon, man. People are starting to feel some of these signs and these things that's coming upon the earth, man. You know, the rise and prices of different things and everything else like that, man. They're starting to see all these things, man. But now all of a sudden, people are those smiles are turning into frowns, man. People are starting to complain of certain things. But yet, hey, it's going to get way worse than these things, man. All right, so let's go back to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Or Ecclesiastes 3 and verse, let me just start back at verse 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. So, hey, like we was just reading, no man knows the day or the hour. But what the Most High, let me grab that other precept I was gonna grab. Let me grab that up. Finish making this here point. Let me let me read up and then I'm gonna jump down. Or I could just read all the way through, but because I just made the same analogy, all right? Because, hey, people would say, no man knows the day or the hour, all right? But what we were reading, we'll get back to it in Ecclesiastes. Hey, to everything there's a time and a season, man, all right? But, hey, you don't understand the time frame of the Most High, more or less to say. You don't understand his, how do I put it, his measurements or his increments of certain things, man. If you're trying to put together a watch, and the increments of the measurements that you're using, it's gonna be a lot smaller than you trying to build a damn skyscraper, man. When you're not gonna use the same metrics of measurements that you use to put together, let's just say, a model car or a wristwatch, as you are when you build a skyscraper, because you're using a lot larger distances, man. So, hey, the same way, let's just go ahead and read it. This is 2 Peter chapter 3. Let me read verse 1. It says that this second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. So, hey, this is why we're on the highways and the byways, to stir up your pure minds, to bring back this into your remembrance. You've once known these things, man, but now it's bringing it back forth into your mind. All right, so you can remember these things. Oh shit, you know what? That you're right about that. You write about these things. This is why we go forth and we constantly study and read these things, man, to bring it forth, to put it back into your mind state. Because why? It's easy for people to, it's gonna go into it further down, but it's easy for people to forget about these things, get comfortable. I ain't see this, I ain't see that. Let's just go ahead and read it now. Jumping down, let's read it all the way down. Verse 2, it says, that ye be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets and by the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. All right, and let me read the next verse. And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. And that's what you have a lot of our people out here saying, man. Man, since I was born, man, these same things been going on. Maybe not in my generation, maybe in my kids' generation, maybe after I'm dead and gone, these things are gonna come to pass. But I don't see it happening in my lifetime, man. I've literally known people who said that from a long time. Now, it ain't gonna happen in my lifetime. Even as a young kid telling me about these things. Yeah, these things are gonna happen, but these things ain't gonna happen while I'm alive. It's gonna be maybe in your kids' generations and things like that. And now talking to them like, did you ever believe you'd be living in a time like this? Like, yeah, I believe that we would be living in a time like this, because when we woke up into the truth, that's one of the things you realize. It's like, oh shit, not only are these things real, but this is the time that we're actually living in. And we're reading about ourselves right now. We're reading about the things that's going on around us. That's why it makes so much more sense, man. All right, stirring up your pure mind. Like, now everything makes sense to me, man. All right, because beforehand you were searching for a truth. You were searching for answers, man. Like in the movie The Matrix, man. Morpheus was telling Neo, he like, look, bro, you always constantly searching out this truth. You know there's something more out there than this, man. Because it's stirring up your pure mind. Certain things is just like bringing forth that remembrance. Damn, why is this like that? Why is that like that? You know, you have certain understandings of why am I drawn towards these types of things? Why am I drawn to this type of information? Then all of a sudden the Lord dropped that truth on you. Now it all makes sense. This is why I'm so into these types of things, these type of topics, these type of things like that, you know, because why? Now it all makes sense. I just stirred up my pure mind. But what? In these last days, you have these scoffers that's going to come up upon the earth. Well, we're going to read it. This is verse 3 again. Let me go up to 3. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3, it says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. All right, after their own lust. And this is one of the things that it's going to say willingly ignorant to. They put it in their own minds. But it's crazy that they'll make up more and more lies to suffice their own comfort level, man. Again, these things aren't happening in my lifetime. They wish and they hope that these things don't happen in their lifetime. So what? They can continue on in their wickedness, man. All right, like the scriptures say, oh, man, I got to grab that real quick. Because, you know, this is how it all plays out, man. This is exactly how it all plays out. And this is the reason why you have, you know, you ain't supposed to be getting all upset with some of your relatives and people that you see around you that don't want to take heed to these things. Because why? They're just trying to pacify their own wickedness. This is John chapter 3, verse 19. It says, and this is the condemnation. Look, bro. It says that light is coming to the world. The answers, the truth is coming into the world, man. It says, and this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest their deeds should be reproved. All right, and so, hey, going back into what we were just reading about, these scoffers walking after their own lust, man. They don't want to come to the truth. They don't want to come to the light. They'll come up with every excuse, you know what I'm saying? And the shit is crazy that they be like, oh, y'all believe that? Y'all got faith in that? That's crazy that y'all would believe something that you can't see. Like, wait. But the flip side of it is, what you saying is, like, for instance, you know, the Big Bang, not going too far off topic, but the Big Bang versus the Most High created us. I'm like, well, it's easier to believe that somebody created us because everything else we got, like computers. If the computers and the AI was to ask, how did we get here? Did we just Big Bang and just appear one day? You know what I'm saying? No, somebody had to assemble this computer, this circuit, these wires, this power board and everything else like that, this monitor, this screen, these elements, and then also create the computer coding for this shit to even take place, man. All right, it's easier to believe that somebody came up with all this ingenious calculations and mathematics and all these different things to put together a computer versus, oh, the computer just fell together like that, man. Same way with this, hey, for every creation there's a creator, man. Every designer is a designer, man. So how the hell we just all of a sudden just appeared like this and nobody else appeared like this? It's just us. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, it take a lot more faith to believe into that than somebody just telling you was created, man. All right, how the hell are we supposed to, you know, we was all created in the beginning. How come we didn't all just kill off each other? How the hell do we know that we were supposed to procreate? Man was supposed to procreate with a woman, and we were supposed to eat certain foods and not eat certain foods, and this shit was poison. We would all died off if it was trial and error and shit like that, man. All right, but wait, it's a lot easier to believe that somebody gave us instructions, man. All right, so, hey, this is why they're willingly ignorant to these things, because they know better than this shit, man. But they will put it into their mind because why? They don't want to come to the light because their deeds are evil, man. If they believe in one thing, look, if you believe that, all right, there's a God out there, he going to judge me for my wickedness, then you have to sit there and define what is wickedness. All right, people say, you know, their option is, hey, we're going to believe whatever we want to believe and do whatever. Some people just want to do whatever they want to do. Let these people have their own options. Let these women dress however they want to dress. Let these people have whatever they want to have. Let them all have social media and do whatever they want to do on social media and everything else like that. But now you see the repercussions of these things and nobody's happy. This is why you have rules and regulations, man. This is why you have all these types of things like that. This is why, you know, you see people even on the smallest levels. Why can't I just go out here and drive as fast as I want to drive, man? Why do I have to stop at these stop signs? Why do I have to abide at these traffic laws and everything? All right, so now you want to be a young, dumb street racer in the middle of the night, speeding down the street, running red lights and everything. Now you lose control at a high rate of speed. You wrap your car around a telephone pole. Somebody get T-boned. You get ejected, and now you all mangled up. Now somebody having a funeral for you, or you paralyzed or some shit like that. You, damn, how did this happen to me? How did this happen to my son? Oh, because they didn't decide to abide by the rules, man. So this is the judgment for it. You know, it's better that you have rules and somebody limits you on the things you should and shouldn't do, because they're a lot wiser than you. It's just like a parent to a child. This is why parents have rules for children. Hey, don't stick that fork inside that power outlet. I know your ass ain't smart enough to realize what's gonna happen to you, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you before you even realize. Maybe when you get older, you know what? I had good parents that told me and kept me from killing myself and everything else like that, man. But not going too far off, but just going into, hey, why men love darkness rather than light, man. All right, this is also going into them being willingly ignorant, because look, the truth is out there, man. But they don't want to come to this truth, man. But hey, at the end all be all, man, hey, this is why they're walking around as scoffers in the last days, man. All right, but hey, like the scripture said, they're gonna have to be put to death anyway, man. But let's get back on topic. Going back into 2 Peter chapter 3. All right, because what we're going into, all right, is for that appointed time that these prophecies are coming to play at, man. All right, this is why we were set forth to be watching these things, and we're seeing these things come to play in their due time, man. All right, and our time is not the Most High's time, man. We're on a different a measurement of times, more or less to say. Like I was giving the example of, you know, you use the measurements to, you know, build something like a watch, something as small as a watch or a toy car. You know, there you go. You got a model car versus a real car. You know, the scale, they have what they call the scale, one is whatever. You know, this is a lot smaller. You know, the little small wrench you're going to be using to, or screws that you're going to be using to put together a little model car is completely different than the bolts you're going to be using to put together a real car, man. All right, the measurements are going to be different because they're on a different size, a different scale, man. All right, the same way with the Most High, man. His measurements of time is different than our measurements of time, man. All right, because he's the everlasting, man. We're only here but for a short time. Going back, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. And you know, we all have our grandparents, our parents, aunts and uncles, old heads in our family. They all say these same things, man. Oh, young blood, that ain't gonna happen in my lifetime. Hey, man, I didn't see a whole lot of shit in my life. Hey, this is, we all have these same relatives in our family, man, that say these same things, man. All right, and hey, if they're still in that same type of time right now with all these things going on, hey, man, it's a great chance that they're not gonna make it, man. Because hey, it's to the point now where, you know, a lot of us that woke up to this here truth, man, we woke up on a whole lot less, you know, like the scripture say, blessed he that believeth without seeing. All right, we seen a lot less, all right, than the shit that's going on. Just like if you was to believe in this before the pandemic and things like that, before all these things, when everything was all good, man, when Babylon was on the up and ups and everything else like that, America, well, Russia wasn't even in no type of stance to be going to war and fighting nobody. All right, the American dollar was up, business was banging as usual. All right, if you woke up at that point in time, man, hey, man, blessed are your eyes, man. All right, blessed are you, because hey, man, you came into this while before the evil times came forth, man, and things gonna get way worse. You know, you're gonna have some believers coming in at the last hour, but nevertheless, for those that started believing before that great quiet sit down, you know, what was it, 2019, 2020, where everything was shut down, everybody was at home, they were looking for answers. They got on the YouTube and people started waking up, oh shit, this is what they talking about, it makes sense now. Hey, blessed are those that was believing beforehand, man. But you still have these people that's coming in after their own lust saying, hey, all things go forth from the, let me read it real quick. Verse 4, 2 Peter 3 and 4 says, and saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep from one generation to another, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. So hey, this is one of the things that they say in their minds. Hey man, the same thing. Hey, this has been going on my whole life, my grandmama life and their grandmama life, and it's gonna keep going on in my grandkids and my great grandkids. Just like how they say in economics with America, they just keep kicking the can down the road for the next generations to take care of, man. This is one of the reasons why you have inflation of the dollar, man. All right, they wind up taking out loans and things like that, and you know them now with stimulus checks and things like that. But that's just ultimately devaluing your dollar. Just like, you know, back in the olden days, you can go get you a brand new house built for what? $20,000, man. That was an expensive house back in the damn days, man. $20,000, $30,000, man. You had to take out a mortgage for a $30,000 home. You know what I'm saying? And then what? Not too long ago, in the early 2000s, you know, some homes, depending on where you live at, you know, shit. Some homes, like where I live at, some homes was like, you know, somewhat nice to expensive homes was $200,000 and $300,000, man. You at the high end of the how you say, the median level at that point in time, man. All right, you buying a $200,000 and $300,000 home. Nowadays, you try to buy a $200,000 and $300,000 home. That's at the bottom of the barrel, man. You pretty much just starting out at those things, man. But it's the same house, all right. But what, they've been devaluing your currency by what? Taking out more and more loans, so it's costing more and more money to buy the same thing. Same with cars. Back in the 60s and stuff like that, you can go buy a brand new Mustang for what? $2,500, $3,000, $3,500. Now them shits is like $80,000, man. All right, but hey, you know, this is what winds up happening. They keep kicking the can down the road. So what? It's getting worse and worse and worse. Same thing here, man. Every generation is going forward, man. It's getting worse and worse and worse. To what? We get to the end, like the scriptures say, her sins have reached unto heaven, man. All right, you've maxed out your credit card, man. The interest is hey, it's full stop now, man. All right, let's going back to 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 4. It says, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. You know, let me keep reading. Whereby the worlds that was being overflowed with the water perished. All right, and so going back to the flood scenario, because why? The Most High had, you know, made the decree that these things was going to happen, so therefore it happened, man. Verse 7, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. All right, and that's the same time that we're in now. Hey, these days are reserved for these things, man. All right, everything is for an appointed time, man. All right, there's a season for everything, and this is the time for what? This Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow, man. So everything is for an appointed time. Jacob is waking up right at the end of his captivity. All right, as Esau starting to fall apart, man. The curse is being raised up off of Jake and put on the Esau, man. So these things are all falling in time, placed in order according to the Most High's plan, man. Not according to our plan, man. Not according to our time frame, man. All right, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So, hey, you know, we think of, oh, man, it took us a long time. You know, it took me a long time to get that there job. Hey, think about this, man. When you was in school, you know what I'm saying, as a kid, you would think about, you know, a school year to you was a long time, man. I remember as a kid, I felt like a summer break was like a whole goddamn year unto me, man. Oh, shit, you know, now you get older, you know, you don't even think about that, but, you know, you get a little older in school, and it's only 3 months, it's just a little small break, but as a kid, man, summer break felt like an entire year, man. All right, in those days, it just felt like it was so much more longer, man. But then, you know, and then you go through school, and you're in school for, what, 12 years? It seemed like a whole lifetime, but then you get out of school, and then before you know it, you've been out of high school for 5 years, then you've been out of high school for 10 years, then you've been out of, then, you know, 15 years, but then you look back, you've been working at this job for 5 years, man. 10 years, man. Oh, shit, I done been knowing about this 5 years, 10 years. These times be going by quick when you get older, man. But nevertheless, you know, we think of these things, you know, when we're younger, as time being so much longer than what it is. But then you get older, time don't seem that long no more, man. Then you get 80, 90 years old, you're like, man, I remember when I was 16, it was just like yesterday, man. You like, then, bro, you 90 years old, that's a long time to be living. But in reality, hey, to the Most High, let me read it again. It says, 2 Peter 3 and 8, it says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. So, hey, man, 1,000 years to us is like one day unto the Lord, man. So this is happening all kind of quick unto to the Lord, man. But unto us, it seems like it's forever, man. All right, but hey, we're on a different time frame, a different measurement, man. But going back to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. All right, so everything is set for an allotted time, appointed time, not according to our time and our time frame. We may think that these things are taking forever, but hey, into the course of the Lord, these things are happening quick, man. And again, once, you know how they say, look in hindsight, looking back, things are happening rapidly, man. You know, you can see these things to us going forward. It seems like, oh man, it's taking forever for this prophecy to take place and that prophecy to take place. You know, but hey, you know, what, in the last 2 years, you starting to see the MOTB rear his face up and take his mask off real quick, man. That shit seemed to happen super quick, man. All right, these nations starting to go to each other's throat. You know, it seemed, you know, beforehand it seemed like, oh, it's taking forever for this to happen and that to happen. But now looking back, and this happened pretty rapidly, man. In the last 5 years, the whole world changed drastically, man. And hell, you can look back from September 11th, all right, 2001. Hey, the last 20 years, the whole world completely changed, man. From what it was like in the 90s to after 2000, man, that shit happened super fast, man. It's, you know, you say it out loud, 20 years, that's a long time, but really ain't been that long of a time, man. All right, again, I remember what I was doing on that exact very day, man. All right, but now look at how much stuff has progressed in that little bit of time, man. So, hey, there's a time and a place for everything according to the Most High and according to his measurements of time, man. So let's go back. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there's a season and every time and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted. All right, so you know you have you know, you can even see like with the animals and stuff like that. You know, like springtime, you're starting to see like little baby birds and stuff. We got these what they call sandhill cranes out here. These big ass birds be walking around. It's like, yo, you know, it's springtime. You start seeing the little babies walking behind them, the little baby ducks and everything else like that rolling around. There's a time for them to be having their little babies to be born and everything else like that, man. All right, the same with the Most High. There's a time to be harping on the famine of the word. There's a time for wars and rumors of wars. There's a time for the mark of the beast. There's a time for Jacob's trouble. There's a time for all these different things to be building up, man. then there's going to be an ultimate time for all these things to be rained down upon the earth all at one point in time, man. And that's why, you know, when you hear going into some of these lessons, all right, sometimes we go heavily on this here prophecy. Right now we're heavily into what? The wars and the rumors of wars. Now we're also in times of what? The beast starting to hate the whore and all these different things, man. All right, but then you have like Jacob's trouble, for instance. Even though it's still brewing, that's not one of the prophecies that's majorly beaten on the wall. Right before this happened, you had what was beaten majorly on the wall? The MOTB, man. You had the whole pandemic thing going on. All right, then they was, you know, talking about the CBDCs and everything else like that. So what? These prophecies are all, they have their time and their how do I say, their time and their space to be fulfilled, more or less to say, man. All right, continuing on. Verse 3, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. All right, hey, there's going to be a time to kill, all right, and a time to heal, all right. In the time of war, like the scriptures say, there's a sound of great battle in the land. All right, it's going to be a time for everybody to be going on all-out war, man. All right, you know, like when we're going to get to it, Lord's will. You know, when the famines and things like that come to pass, all right, and there ain't no more food, and it's like a purge going on outside, man. When the laws are all done away with and everything else like that, man. When the police is going out there scavenging on a scavenger hunt, looking for food, medicine, and water and things like that, man. Hey, man, it's not a time of peace at that point in time, man. It's a time to get yours. What they say, survival of the fittest, more or less to say, man. All right, but right now it's a time for what? So-called, you know, in a grander picture, it's a time of peace, man. You be walking around cordial and things like that, man. You don't just walk up in a grocery store and be snatching food up off the shelf. Hey, man, you know, prices of food is getting up higher, but it's not, you know, unbearable to the point you can't afford it no more, man. So there's a time for all these different things, and what? We as the prophets, the seers, all right, we tell you these things, we prophesy, telling you these things before they come to pass. Continuing on, verse 4, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. All right, and that's going to, you know, you have a lot of people in these times now that accuse us of always being negative, always thinking about negativity. Y'all always thinking about this, always thinking about this. Is the time that we supposed to be thinking about that, man. It's better to go into the house of mourning than the house of mirth. All right, right now, you know, if you're in the house of mirth right now, man, you're going to get caught like a thief in the night, man. Because all these things are coming to pass and your eyes are closed to these things that's going on around you. And you don't understand what's the potency of the dangers that's around you, more or less to say, man. Because why? You in the house of mirth. You in the house, you know, it's just like, you know how they say don't get high on your own supply. You're supposed to be watching a little trap house, but you in the house all drunk, you know what I'm saying, and laughing and giggling and everything else like that. You don't realize the shit that's going on around the house, man. Oh, shit, they setting up for a whole raid right now. You got caught off guard because you're supposed to be watching on the watchtower, but, you know, you inside the house playing PlayStation, getting drunk, playing spades and shit like that, having a good time. You know, but then you forgot to watch, man. All right, just like in a time of war. Whatever that movie was, it Dead Presidents, man. I ain't got time to be worried about my family right now. If I'm worried about my family, I ain't going to be able to make it home to my family. You know, roughly paraphrasing from the movie. All right, hey, that's the time for them to be out there in the battlefield seeking down the enemy and taking the enemy out, man. It ain't the time to be sitting there thinking about their wife and making love to their wife and everything else like that. And vice versa. When you back home, it's time for you to be sitting there making love to your wife, not thinking about killing Charlie in the bushes and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? There's a time for everything, man. Right now, we're in a time of what? Heavy prophecies coming to pass, man. A time for repentance, coming back into the Lord while, you know, hey, them last animals are getting onto the ark and the door is about to be closed, man. These are those times that we should be living in. This is not the beginning of our captivity, but the end of our captivity, man. This is not we just now going, getting cast off, but this is the time of us being brought back, man. So this is an expedient time for us to be seeking the Lord while he may be found because, look, ultimately, you know, those doors are going to be closed, all right? And then what? There's going to be no place of repentance that's going to be left for us, all right? Well, for the 2/3, you know? Hey, because why? The scriptures say they loathed the law when they had yet a place of repentance was open unto them. But continuing on, verse 5, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. And that's the same thing, you know, going into that. There's a time to build up. All right, there's a time, you know, there was a point in time where, you know, it was cool for you to sit out here and try to build up certain things, send your kids to college, all right, get good jobs and everything else like that, go get married. Hey, you know, like in a previous captivity in, was it Babylon? It's like, yo, hey, y'all settle down. Y'all get married. Y'all gonna be here for a while, man. You know, in the mid to early 90s and things like that, the 2000s, early 2000s and things like that. Hey, man, hey, go ahead, go, you know, you gonna be here for a while, man. 20 years later, we still here, man. All right, but now things are starting to pop off. Now these prophecies are coming to pass, man. So, like, what? You graduated from college in 1999, 2000 and things like that. You went and got you a little good job to provide for you and got married and had a little family and things like that. You know, hey, nothing wrong with that. Now your kids is what, 20 years later, your kids is grown out of the household, and you can focus back on this truth right now, man. But now is not the time for you to be trying to go to college and shit like that. And oh man, I'm gonna go to college for the next 8 years to get this here degree, to go get this here good job. So in 10 years, I could be working for this here big firm and everything. Hey, Lord's will, we not here in 10 years, man. Lord's will, we are in the kingdom of heaven, man. Lord's will, we are redeemed up out of this place, man. So there's a time for all these different things, and right now it's not the time to be building up in this here place, man. All right. This is also a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, man. There was a time for us to, you know, of course we're supposed to be peaceful with all men, all right. But there was a time for us to be sitting out here and how do I put it? You know, hey, it ain't that bad if you out here around these 2/3 and things like that at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna be here for a while. But hey, right now, it's not the time for you to be caught up with these here 2/3. Now ain't the time for you to be out here with these people of the world and everything else like that when all these different things are going on outside. Hey man, you don't want to be caught up with these places and things like that, man. All right, now, you know, to give you a quick example, you know, when everybody had beforehand, you know, we'll give you a random year, 2011, 2012, right? Hey man, everybody was going out to the club and partying and everything else like that. Nobody seen no problems with that, man. But what, 2019, 2020, people were saying now is not the time to be having a massive amount of people into a small space, man. Everybody all breathing up on top of each other. Now is not the time to be trying to go out to the club and go party right now, man. Them times of going to the club is out the window now, man. All right, same with the times that we living in right now. Now is not the time for you to be sitting out here partying and bullshitting and just living your life up, man. All right, just like we read a little earlier, hey, it's gonna be like the time of the days of Noah. They was eating and drinking and marrying and giving into marriage and things like that. Hey, now ain't that time, man. Now is the time for you to be focusing on the Lord and seeking repentance, man. Seeking the Lord while he may be found. All right, continuing on. A time to get, verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Hey, and also going into that, man, you know, some of these things you have to cast away in this here time frame that we're living in, man. What was that? Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27. All right, there's a time like that right now where it's, hey, if, you know, let me read this other precept real quick first. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. It says, think not that I've come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of their own household. Let me jump over to, where is it at? Okay, I got you. Matthew chapter 19 and 27. Let me just get to the point. Matthew chapter 19 and verse 29. It says, and everyone that has forsaken houses or brethren or sister or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So going back, Ecclesiastes 3 and 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. So hey, there was a point in time, you know, where it was, you know, it was all right for you to go out there, you know, for you men to go out there and get wives, women to go out there and you know, marry and get husbands, for you to have children, all right, for you to expand your families and things like that. There was a time for those things like that, man. But now it ain't that expedient for you to be doing these things, man. All right, hey, it's, you know, not really nothing wrong with you having a woman or a wife right now and having kids and things like that. But these things can be used against you for, you know, distractions, more or less to say, man. All right, you go and you get you a woman nowadays. She want to constantly spend time with you, man. Constantly want to have dinner nights, movie nights, go out with the friends, go out with her parents, go out and go do this and go do that, when you should supposed to be doing what? Watching for these prophecies to come to pass, man. We have to be occupied and watching and occupied in these here works. How you going to be occupied in the Lord when you're over here occupied with your wife and your family, man? Constantly going out on the weekends to your son's soccer game, football game, basketball game, and things like that. Constantly doing all these different things, all right? Because, hey, these are some of the things that create wedges between what? Either a man and his family, like we just read, or a man and the truth, all right? Being the wedge being his family at that point in time. One of these two are going to wind up being the wedge, man. All right, if you over here giving the Lord your all, a lot of the times you don't have time, you know, and not saying that all the time, because there are some brothers that's able to manage all these things at the same time. But hey, for some brothers, that's not in your story, man. It's not in your story to sit here, you know, to have these different things to be a distraction unto you, man. All right, hey, man, if I had this going on, I know this shit would be a distraction. I'd be too busy doing this. I'd be too busy doing that, man. You know, and certain things like that, man. Sometimes you even see it in your own life, man. Yeah, I could be a lot further in this here scenario, this here thing that I got going on, but I'm so busy with this other stuff that's going on. I ain't really got time to be growing this on this end, man. You know, you may have a small business or something that, hey, I ain't really got time to be doing this extra promotion, doing all this extra shit like that, because I'm just not really into it like that, man. Oh yeah, I got this project car I've been putting together in my garage, and if I got time to be sitting out there working on that project car, I got time to be working for the Lord, man. So this is sometimes, a lot of the times, that dilemma. So there's a time to get and a time to let go, man. All right, some of these things, now is the time to be letting go all these, like Scripture say, let go of the mortal thoughts, man. Let go of some of these things that you have, this is not your rest. All right, these things that you're cleaving unto in this here world, man. Hey, because ultimately all these things, you should be preparing yourself for the things that we're about to go through right now, man. All right, because the Scriptures say what? Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time, man. Blessed he that readeth, with all thy getting, get understanding. This is what you should be investing all your time into right about now, because this is what's going to help you in those days, man. The things that your so-called, store heavenly treasures, not these carnal or fleshly treasures, because wow, that's not going to save you in these days, man. All right, like the Scripture we just read in Matthew 19:27, all right, about he that gave up all these things going to inherit them a hundredfold, man. So you're going to get these things back. You just put it off to the side for the time being, man. You're going to wind up getting these things back at a later time and a later date. But, hey, focus on this here first. But at the end, you'll be able to reap all these other things. But if you focus, like the Scripture also say, I didn't drop it already. Let me just see if I can get it back real quick. Matthew chapter, well, let me just continue reading on down. Matthew chapter 10, verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And that's not saying you should, hate your mother and your father in that sense. Like, oh, you found out about the truth and you go home and you cuss your parents out, you cuss your wife out, cuss your kids out to kick them to the curb. No, we're not saying none of that, man. Hey, if possible, be at peace with all men. If you got a wife that's content with living with you and how you rocking and everything else like that, hey, be with that woman, man. Your kids, if they understand the things that you got going on, hey, you might even have a son, that's following after you in the truth, man. And that's a beautiful thing, man. But it's not for you to just sit there and oh shit, now that I found out about the truth, I gotta cast my son off and everything. Nah, man, that's not what that's talking about. But hey, at the same time, on the flip note, if that's gonna be that wedge between you, hey, your woman say, hey, you're gonna have to choose between me and that truth of yours, man. Hey, that's the easy choice, man. We're gonna choose the Lord. And always keep this in your mind, man. Your wife can't bring the Lord back unto you, but the Lord can bring your wife back unto you. You see what I'm saying? Hey, your kids can't bring you back into the Lord, but hey, something happened to your kids, you in tune with the Lord, you can pray and the Lord will have mercy on your kids, man. That's how you always supposed to think about it, man. So that's why you're supposed to love the Lord more than anything else that you got, man. Because anything else that you got, whether it be lands, families, anything that you may have, man, it's the Lord that provided you with that in the beginning, man. It's the Lord that's sustaining you with that overall, man. So hey, you never want to choose those things over the Lord, because hey, the moment you choose that, all right, I choose my woman over the Lord, I choose to serve be with this here woman more than I choose to serve the Lord. Hey, man, the Lord will put the spirit on your woman to go sleep with your best friend. Now you want to go kill this broad, and in the midst of all that, you wind up losing your life, man, or you get locked up in jail for the rest of your life, man. So that's a bad choice to make, man. But continuing on, verse 38, and he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. And he that findeth, here's the point, he that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. So going back to Ecclesiastes, man, there's a time to build and a time to let go, or a time to get and a time to let go. All right, you try to so-called find your life here in this here place. You so-called, people say, I found a way to finally live and to flourish in this here place, man. You're going to ultimately lose your life, because where a man's heart is where his treasure's going to be at, man. So if you I found a loophole here, man, I'm going to go, for instance, man, I found a way of making in this life. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invest in this Bitcoin or this cryptocurrency. Again, take it with a grain of salt, man. I myself at a certain point in time invested in the crypto, but hey, not in the sense, oh, this is gonna be my way out. Here go a little extra money. If the shit go up, it go up. If it go down, it go down. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. I'm not sitting here, this is gonna be my way out. I'm gonna be a billionaire off of this here shit and everything else like that, hey, man. Hey, if the Lord made it to where I turned $10 into $100 million, and then, I go to cash out, had $100 million in my bank account, and all of a sudden, shit hit the fan that moment in time, so be it, man. Ain't nobody mad about that shit, man. But when you sit there and you have your life predicated on that, oh man, I'm doing this and that, I'm making this here money off this here crypto and everything. I want this, your mindset begin to go like this. I want this world to keep going on, because now I'm actually up on top. And when you say you want this world to go on, you want this wickedness to keep flourishing, man. You don't realize, because see, you just see in your narrow mindset, I'm doing good right now. But what about the state of the world, man? The fluoride in the water, the poison in the air, All right, the GMO fruits, the shit, the wickedness is going on everywhere else, man. Esau trying to put a microchip in your ass, man. Wars and the rumors of wars, all this wickedness is going on around the globe, man. What about all of that shit now because your pockets is laced, man? All right, bro, you find your life in this here place, you're gonna wind up losing it. Just like I was making an example about that crypto. See, there was a point in time where people was making that big money off of crypto and everything else like that. Then all of a sudden the markets just crashed, and guess what? Those people's hopes and their hearts' desires, and they was massively depressed because why? They started losing a lot of money in that shit, man. You know, you had a lot of people that was working from years on in, had their 401k popping. Oh yeah, we doing good. Yeah, we got $1 million now, $2 million now. Oh, we gonna be good. We gonna retire good. We gonna go get a boat. We gonna move down to Florida and everything. Now all these economic woes is going down. Shit, we gonna be working till we 75 now. Oh, well, your whole heart is crushing out because that's where your heart was at, man. That's where your mind was at. You thought that was gonna save your life. You thought that's how you was gonna sustain yourself, man. You didn't have in mind that, hey, the Lord's gonna sustain me, man. All right, so hey, like the scriptures say, he that findeth his life gonna lose his life, but he that loses his life for my name's sake shall have everlasting life, you know? Or I could have read it, but, you know, just roughly paraphrasing. You know, hey, so ultimately, hey, because finding and cleaving unto the Lord and being saved from the Lord, man, hey, we realize we in hell right now. This is not our rest. This place is polluted. So all the things we really desire, man, having a wife and kid. You may not have a wife and kid on this here side, but what does the scripture tell us, man? Hey, you know, now we just flowing in the spirit. But hey, that's how it is. You may come out with one topic and the Lord have you somewhere else. Isaiah 60, just getting to the point. Isaiah 60. And verse 22, you know, going into the point of, hey, you know, man, I wanted to have kids here and this and that, but I guess I ain't having kids in this lifetime because things is going on. Hey, that's what your desire is, but hey, the Most High, hey, you know, his understanding is higher than your understanding. You don't know what he know, and the heart is deceitful above all. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a family and kids, but in this place is polluted. It's not our rest, all right? Don't be trying to save your life and find your life here, but find the Lord, man, and you're going to have everlasting life. Let me read this real quick. Isaiah 60 and 22, it says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. Yahweh will hasten it in his time. So, hey, man, going into these things, man, when, you know, the time come, you know, when it's time for you to sit there and, like the Lord say, hey, you try to find your life here, the things that satisfying unto you, you're going to lose it all, man. You can have kids on this here side. You see what's going on, man. You can get your old lady, fall in love with her and everything else like that, have some kids and everything else like that. But now your kid's going to school, learning how to cross-dress. Now your old lady sleeping with your best friend or your brother and everything else like that. Or your old lady on Instagram twerking and clapping them ass cheeks day in and day out, and you can't say nothing about it, man. So now what? You're not even the head of your own house, or you being emasculated in your own house, and it's just eating at you on the inward parts, man. Hey, man, it'd be better if you wouldn't even, you know, touch that side of life, man. Never had a wife or kids on this here side, but guess what? Hey, the Lord's about to bring us into the kingdom of heaven, where a small one gonna become a strong nation, man. All right, so hey, the Lord's gonna hasten this time, man. You give up your life on this side for the Lord, He's gonna give it back to you 100-fold, man. All right, we just read that in 2 Peter chapter 19. All right, he that forsaketh all right, he gonna receive it 100-fold, man. All right, but let's go back to this Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 6 again. A time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away. All right, and that's what we were just going into. There's a time and a place for all these things. A time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. All right, and now it's the time for us to be speaking about these prophecies, man. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And that's the times that we're in right now. We're in a time of war. Wars and rumors of wars. This is not in the time. You've seen all these different nations. Let me grab that real quick. This is, okay, I know where it's at. Oh, too far. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. So like the scripture said, there's a time for peace and a time for war, right? We're in a time of war, all right? This is where it says, let me read it again. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. And how are they preparing war? All right, you're starting to see, well, let me keep reading. It says, Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And you start to see these troops, you know, with a lot of these, what people don't realize is going on, where you keep seeing all these drills, and Lord's will, we'll get to that article about you know, America with their nuclear what they call it, thermonuclear missile tests that they trying to push off. They postponed it, but one of the things that people don't realize, and a lot of these so-called drills that they do, the joint exercise drills, a lot of these testings and things like that, one of the things that's behind the scenes is that is what? Logistics and moving troops into the area, man. Getting them prepared for war, getting them prepared for battle and things like that, man. So you're starting to see these prophecies take place in the form of what? Joint military exercises, all right, and testing of certain munitions and things like that, getting them ready for war, man, getting them ready to be used, man, ready in the weapons of war and everything else like that, man. All right, so it's like a boxer. Boxer is in the gym training because he know he has a fight coming up, man. All right, but then he's out being Money Mayweather at the club and the casino and shit like that. Well, what? It's time for peace, man. All right, but when you see Mayweather in the gym training and things, you know, oh, he must have a fight coming up, right? So right now we seeing these nations starting to what? Prepare for war. We're starting to see these nations moving troops around, doing joint exercise drills with one another, conglomerations of nations coming together, and how do I say, you know, practicing how they, you know, getting in line and formation with one another, man. So let's go back. Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I am strong. All right, you have all these different nations testing, you know, their weapons, creating new weapons, you know, battleships and aircraft carriers and things like that. Developing planes, procuring planes and everything else like that, buying missiles and rocket launchers from these other nations and things like that, man. You see in all these different nations, what are they doing all these things for, man? They're not buying and spending their money, all right, that their country need to feed their country, all right, for to buy military weapons just to put on the damn shelf, man. All right, this is not like how Esau be buying guns just to put up on the back wall in his house and shit like that. Nah, man, they buying these shit to go hunting, man. All right, they're going to start hunting these people down, man. All right, and what you call World War III. All right. Verse 10, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause the mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Hey, and going into the weak say I am strong, man, you seeing a lot of these so-called weaker nations now testing nukes and things like that, man. All right, going out to the battlefield. You have also the weak say I'm strong. It goes into what? A lot of these nations now calling America out for their BS, man. All right, not taking heed to the sanctions that America's putting out on Russia and everything else like that. Not taking heed to their leadership of the things that's going on around the globe, man. These nations are now, look, let me grab this precept real quick while it's hot and on fire. Hang on. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 10. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? All right, so hey, you know, going back into the weak saying that they're strong. All right, again, going back into them also saying, art thou become weak as we? All right, because again, you know, beforehand, nations wouldn't come out on the world stages and things like that and talk shit to America. Oh, y'all said this and now this happened, or y'all said put sanctions on these nations and we're not gonna put these sanctions on these nations, man. Because these nations were afraid that they was gonna be landlocked like how they did Cuba. But now you have some of these smaller nations that are like, look, we're not gonna go back and forth with these different sanctions that you guys are putting on these different nations. These nations helped us out, man. So what? We're gonna rock with these different nations, man. Just like, for instance, you even have nations that were at peace with them that are also saying the same thing. Whereas, we grab this one real quick as an example. Obadiah 1 and 7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is no understanding in him. So the men that was at peace with them has deceived them. And who's one of those nations that was at peace with them? All right, you have Turkey, man. All right, Turkey wound up buying that S-400 from Russia, man. All right, then they wound up taking or got another deal where they're gonna take possession of a second round of those S-400s and more missiles, man. And then what? America tried to sanction them. All right, kick them out of the F-35 program. All right, but now all of a sudden it's putting them into a rock and a hard spot, man. Before, again, those weaker nations like Turkey, comparably to America, all right, you know, they weren't able to say all these things, man. If America's allies at that point in time was to be able to sit there and defy America, what America had going on, America would have just wasted their ass, man. All right, not too long ago, I forgot what president it was, whether it was Trump. It had to be Trump, where he was talking shit to Saudi Arabia. It was like, bro, if we pull out of Saudi Arabia will fall in a week, because it's basically our military equipment that they're using over there, and it's our military training that they're using over there. They don't really have no real might and no power. But fast forward until today, all right, Biden exposing them for the Khashoggi killing and everything else like that, put a sour taste into their mouth. All right, talking all kind of shit on the world stage to the basically to Russia, all right, the Russian president and things like that. So now what? They don't want to answer the telephone for the United States, man. So hey, that's one of their major, you know, contraptions that they use, that Babylonian juice that they use with the petrodollar and the oil buying through Saudi Arabia that they use to prop themselves up. Now, these weaker nations are what? Snubbing America, hanging up the phone on them, or not answering the phone for them. And like I said, I believe it was Trump who said, hey, if we pull out of Saudi Arabia, they'll fall in a week, man. They're no match to really nobody on the face of the earth once we pull our military equipment up out of there, man. But now they are walking out on the limb. It's like, you know what? We don't really need America in their military. If we just keep cutting deals with Russia, Russia will back us up, man. Russia will sit here and give us aid, man. All right, matter of fact, let me go ahead and read this here article. This is one of the articles I want to bring out real quick because, hey, even these people that took this damn bait, you know, and this is going into two different prophecies coming to pass, man. All right. So, like, give me 1 second. All right, I'm gonna just read a little bit of this here article. It says West reluctant to give Ukraine security guarantees. The media, you know, it says West reluctant to give Ukraine security guarantees. All right, it says the U.S. and its allies may not sign up to defend Kiev in the way it wants, CNN has claimed. Western officials are uncertain that their governments will agree to give Ukraine legally binding security guarantees similar to NATO's Article 5, and inside source have allegedly told CNN. All right, and so going into that Article 5 scenario, what you have to understand is that that goes into with NATO. If anybody attack any of the NATO allies, that pretty much all of NATO comes out at their aid. All right, pretty much all of NATO is going to come to their rescue. There's a conglomeration of nations on there. So, you know, you have this damn devil that's out there talking. Biden, you know, what he say on TV all the time is like, we will defend every inch of NATO. We will defend every inch of NATO. We will defend every inch of NATO. Putting into the minds of people, because he's speaking about that in the sense of, you know, of the Ukraine, man. All right, you know, it's just like, hey, we understand what you're saying, you know, but that's not, you know, you're talking about two different topics. You're talking about defending every inch of NATO. The Ukraine ain't a part of NATO, man. But for people who don't really understand these things, this is why, hey, he that may run that readeth it, man. That's why we tell you about these things, so you can understand. When you hear them saying one thing, you know, oh, that ain't really talking about what you think they talking about, you know. They putting these things out, or when they say we sending humanitarian aid, a liberation mission, and things like that. Bro, they're not going over there for peace. They're going over there for destruction. All right, this is why we're making the vision plain unto you, man, so that you'll be able to understand it, and it's quick for you to, you know, it quickens your mind, more or less to say. All right, so they want this, you know, now it's coming to the woodwork. You know, America was blowing all this here smoke up Ukraine's ass, saying, hey, look, bro, hey, we got your back, man. We got you on this, we got you on that, and everything else. Hey, go ahead and make a move. You know, we got you if anything pops off. You know, they kept saying, hey, we're going to defend every inch of NATO. But what? They're not a part of NATO, man. They never had no plans of sending no troops over there, putting no troops on the ground, and using none of their planes or their equipment to defend NATO, man. They just wanted a proxy war with Russia to see if Russia was bluffing or not, man. But, hey, come to find out, hey, the Most High is working on the minds of these kings, Proverbs 21:1. All right? I'm holding a little too many precepts right now. Hang on. This is, Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So, hey, you know, it's the Most High that's ultimately working on the minds of these kings, guiding them in the directions that he would move them in. All right, putting them into the ways that he would have them to go and everything. So, ultimately, when these things come to pass, all right, you know, or how do I put it? These people will be strategically placed in these places so that these prophecies can be fulfilled. All right, let's go back. It says Ukraine has, let me see. Yep. Well, let me just read this on down. Let me read these next two paragraphs. All right, you know, going into the changing of the tune of these things, man. The weak saying they're strong, man. People are looking at America as like, yo, man, fuck this nigga, man. We realize there's another precept, you know, damn. Let me grab this precept as well too, because these are all these things that's starting to come to pass, man. And people will read these articles and just see, you know, regular articles as, oh, well, what does that got to do with this? What does this got to do with that? But it's all predicated on what? The fall of Babylon, man. All right, she being prepped and primed and ready to be taken, man. All right. This is Isaiah 14:16-17. All right. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All right, and hey, you know, they some of these nations were just speaking on this about not opening the house of the prisoners. You know, a lot of different nations. You know, you have Jamaican was talking about that when they was talking about the UK and the Queen and them. But then you also have some of these other African nations talking about humanitarian aid. What's up with y'all and y'all slavery and shit like that? Y'all weren't talking about war criminals and things like that, man. But now also they saying, is this the man, all right, that did shake the kingdom? So now they're looking at them as like, yo, man, they didn't went inside and puffed us up on these promises that they didn't keep, all right? But yet and still, you know, they didn't make good on their promises, more or less to say, all right? Now they're starting to see them for who they really are. Let me grab that in the book of Psalms. It's like here. This is Psalms. Oh, too far. Psalms 55 and 21. Well, let me go to 20. Psalms 55 and 20 says, he put forth his hands against such as be his peace with him. He has broken his covenant. All right, so hey, you know, again, with that one out of one side of their mouth, they're saying, hey, look, you know, we'll come to your aid and everything else like that. But what? The reality of it is, you left them people out there to dry, man. And ultimately, what is that going to wind up doing? It's going to turn, you know, your so-called allies into your enemies. Also, in twofold, man, because these are parts of Russia, putting them hooks back into the Russian jaw, man, bringing them back into that old Soviet state, man. So all you really doing is you fulfilling prophecy, man, day in and day out. But again, to those that don't have the eyes to see, it's just regular, you know, every day is going on like normal, man. They was eating and drinking and marrying and giving into marriage, not realizing that destruction and salvation is right around the corner, man. If you knew how close destruction was, you would be reaching for salvation, man. If you knew how close salvation was, you'd be trying to make your call and election sure, man. All right, let's go back. Psalms 55 and 20, he put forth his hands against such as be his peace with him. It says, he hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So, hey, he say one thing, hey, we want to go over there for humanitarian aid. We got to go over here and liberate Ukraine from under the Russians, provocations in the Russian war. You know, all these articles where you read about this scenario, they all pretty much end with, oh, Russia went and invaded Ukraine off of this, and that, and everything, making Russia look like the bad guy. But it's like, nah, bro. It was America with their little sweet talk and their Babylonian juice, you know, that they over here spewing out that brought these things up come to pass, man. They brought these things into fruition, man. Brought them out to the border of all these different things. So now you're starting to see these nations are starting to look at America as like, yo, this is the dude that's stirring up the whole hornet's nest, man. This is the guy that's destabilizing every damn thing, man. I was watching this, what was it, UN Security Council or something that on one of the world stages, where I think the guy was from South Africa or a place in Africa. They was talking about the killing of the unlawful killing of Muammar Gaddafi, man. Still talking about Gaddafi and his family and everything else like that. How NATO and them was over there doing all these different things like that, man. Hey, so all these people are starting to call them out for their wickedness, man. But let's get back and finish off this here article real quick. It says, where are we at? Yeah. It says Ukraine has agreed, all right, so now, you know, because they was having these peace talks with Russia. It says Ukraine has agreed to renounce its constitutionally enshrined aspiration to become a member of the U.S.-led military bloc, and said it now seeks a different kind of security. So now they backing off because look, bro, you just say we can make all these deals and everything else like that if I do this, if I do that, if I do this. Hey, it's like somebody trying to offer you a job. Hey man, look, we need you to go ahead and quit your job. We need you to go do this first. We need you to go do that next. We need you to go do this. We need you to go do that. Prepare for this here job that we're about to give you. But then ultimately you do all these things, they still have you waiting around. Now you've been out of work for 2 weeks, 6 months, a year and a half waiting around for this job. Eventually you can't, you done depleted your savings, and now you have to go and do what? All right, man, I gotta go put this job off to the side. I'm gonna go find me my own job, man. Because if not, I'm gonna go bankrupt over here, sitting over here waiting on these people, man. So continuing on, it says, going back, it says, Ukraine has agreed to renounce its constitutionally enshrined aspiration. So they put aside what the hell they was going to, man, because they starting to realize that America was on that BS, man. Hey, man, hold up, man. Is this the man that did shake the kingdoms, man? We not rocking with you no more, man. We need a different type of security, man, because fucking with him, he gonna have us all out here depleted, man. So Ukraine has agreed to renounce its constitutionally enshrined aspiration to become a member of the U.S.-led military bloc, and said it now seeks a different kind of security agreement. And its proposal it delivered to the Russian delegation during peace talks in Istanbul this week. So how the hell, let me read the next paragraph. It says, under the proposal, Kiev would pledge not to host foreign military bases or troops on its territory. So they did a complete 180, right? Because they over here trying to be like, look, man, we'll take all the U.S. aid, military equipment, troops, everything that they got to offer. We'll take it all because, hey, shit, because they got that American puppet over there, man. All right, but now they starting to see what's really popping now. They realize that Russia's not allowing that to happen, but ultimately, like we read in Proverbs 21:1, the Lord is working on the minds of these kings, moving them however he wants them to go, man. We still have prophecies to be fulfilled. This is not man's timeline or man's goings, man. This is of the Most High, man. So ultimately, this is what's in store for the Most High, man. He's bringing back what the hooks into the Russians' jaw, bringing them back, man. So one way or the other, man. All right, so you have, it says, under the proposal, Kiev will pledge not to host foreign military bases or troops on its territory, meaning the West, all right? It says, no more American troops over there, no more American equipment or Western, Western Europe and things like that. In return, leading world powers, including Russia, would make a legally binding pledge to defend Ukraine from future military attacks. So these people didn't realize that they fucking with the damn devil. That devil has to be a big devil for these people to sit there and be like, you know what? The people that's over here at war with us right now, people that's over here bombing us and shit like that right now, you know what? We'd rather make an agreement to go deal with them, ask them for protection, than the other people who blew smoke up our ass telling us they gonna protect us and then brought us into this damn conflict to begin with. Now they starting to take that mask off. Is this the man that destabilized the whole damn planet Earth? Nigga, it's your fault that we over here at war in the first place, man. We don't really got no problems with these people because these people are our people, man. The world was at a way better place. We was all at peace. We was all eating. Everything was flowing. Money was good. Before y'all brought y'all ass over here and started giving us these broken promises, these broken covenants, man. Your smooth words, but really it was war that was in your heart, man. You blew all this smoke up our ass. Now we got war on our fronts over here, but this massive military that's on the other side of us, bro. They could wipe us out in a week if they really wanted to, man. Russia ain't really putting the smoke on them like they, Russia's a military power, man. They could drop about 2 nukes over there, 1-2 nukes over there. The whole place just disappear from the books of history, man. All right, but what, they ain't really trying to bring the smoke like that, man. But see, they realize fucking with America and all these other ex-Soviet nations are realizing, you know what? If we keep playing with this here harlot, we're going to lose everything, man. It's almost like a relationship. You got your wife, you got this here harlot that you've been dealing with, this little hood rat that you've been dealing with, but now she want to get all, start flexing on you. You know what? I'm about to go to your wife's job and tell your wife that we've been sleeping together, man. I'm about to go to your family and pick up your kids from school. Man, bitch, you about to have my whole household fucked up, man. What you got going on, man? I'm about to lose everything dealing with you. So what is a wise man to do? Go ahead and cut her off, man. All right, because she ain't going to do nothing but bring destruction into your place, man. All right, so let's continue on with this here and finish this here off. It says, under the proposal, Kiev will pledge not to host foreign military bases or troops in its territory. In return, leading world powers, including Russia, would make a legally binding pledge to defend Ukraine from future military attack. All right, who would they be attacked from? All right, who would they be attacked by? All right, the West. If they kicking the West out of the picture, all right, who are they bringing into the picture, man? They're bringing the West, or they're bringing Russia into the picture, man, to stand up against the West. All right. It says Moscow said that the very fact that Kiev made a written proposal on how it wants to resolve the conflict was positive, but refrained so far from committing to any part of it. So hey, they thinking of the table like, what is a better deal for us, man? This is why these nations are starting to wake up from this Babylonian juice, man. All right, because hey, they've been drinking this here shit down, all right, believing into these lies and things like that, but has it been beneficial unto them? All right, like we just read the scripture say, hey, his words were smoother than butter, but war was in his hearts, man. All right, let me grab this quick precept real quick. Boom, right to the point. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right, so hey, man, this is what's going on right now, man. These nations have been made drunk through her wine, her fornications, man. All right, let me get back to that in a second. Give me 1 second. Revelation 18 and verse 3, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornications. The kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. So, hey, man, a lot of these nations was able to benefit and to make some money up off of America. But now they starting to wake up from this Babylonian juice and realize they actually losing out on these things, man. Again, going back, making a joke. Going back to that crypto stuff, yeah, man, you might have been able to, you know, how they say with the AMC and GME and the Dogecoin, yeah, you might have been able to make a big little profit off of that, turn $100 into a couple $1,000, and then you was like, oh, I'm a diamond hand to hold out. In the long run, man, not only did you lose the little profit that you made of $1,000 or your thousands of dollars, but that $100 that you initially put in, you lost that. And guess what? You done went into debt borrowing more money to put this. So, yeah, you initially put up $100, but overall, you're actually, you know, you done lost your little thousands of dollars of profit, but you done borrow more money. You done borrow $10,000, try to make that money back, and you done lost it all, man. You would have been good just cutting off that $100 loss, man, or taking your profits while you was at the top. But see, now these nations starting to wake up to these things, man. Ukraine is one of those nations that's starting to see these things are starting to pop off. How it's coming down the pipeline. It's like, you know what? We've lost more than what we actually gained listening to America in this here scenario, man. All right, now they start to say, hey, look, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that weakens the nations? You've been over here, how they call it, devouring these different nations with what your philosophies, your broken covenants, your broken promises and things like that, man. Telling everybody you're gonna come to their aid, we're gonna defend every inch of NATO. Well, they not a part of NATO, man, and that's a red flag. If they was to join NATO, you're gonna automatically, how they call it, enact Article 5, man. You done wage war against Russia, man. Like how they put it, it's like, damn, there's a word for it where it's like you basically triggered your own alarm. You set off your own trap, man. All right, you done brought in one of these Russian, you know, ex-Soviet nations that's on the borderline of Russia and put your missiles onto them. Hey, man, you done triggered, you know, a war on the war front with them, man. And now you got to defend all this here land. Now, this is why you have a lot of these other nations. Let me go ahead and read that real quick. We right here on the same page. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16. It says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. These shall hate the whore, make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Why would the beast hate the whore, man? And the beast is going into what? These NATO and EU nations, all right? And the whore is talking about America. Why would they start hating the whore, man? All right, because of their deals and everything they got going on is putting them in a hard spot, man. You got Russia talking about, look, man, we about to start selling out. Y'all got sanctions on all our banks. All right, we're going to start selling our oil in the ruble, man. So you want to transfer your shit, you got to buy it through our bank. Before it hit our bank, it got to be transferred into the ruble, man. What is this going to wind up doing to Russia? Like, y'all don't think, what the fuck is America doing, man? All right, I got to read this, man, because this is the these are the snares that America's laying for their own self, man. Like, you trying to, you know, you understand putting a sanction on somebody. Hang on 1 second. Right here. You put a sanction on somebody, it's akin to, you know, let me hold my place. You put a sanction on somebody, it's like you akin to in the olden times they would say you put a place under siege. All right, you cut them off from their trade, you cut them off from their food supply, water supply. You basically starve them out, man. You don't want to roll up into you put a Muhammad Ali, man. What was Muhammad Ali's method of boxing, man? He'll go in the ring, first couple rounds, he let you sit there and whoop his ass up against the rope. What was he really doing? He noticed that all you doing is tiring yourself out. I'm bouncing off these ropes. I ain't really I'm deflecting all this here energy out really into the ropes, letting you just weigh in and weigh in and weigh in and weigh in. Hey, man, all you doing is tiring yourself out. Once you get good and tired, guess what? I'm about to come in with that haymaker and just knock your ass out, man. I don't got to sit here and try to wear you out with all these punches and hits and then tire you out that way. I'm going to let you tire yourself out, man. So what? These sanctions and things like that, all right? In the olden days, like I said, it's like a siege. You about to go to war with a different country. Well, let's just put a blockade up on them, man. Put them under siege, man, so they can't bring in no more food, no more water into their land. So what? The people start starving to death. They get a little weaker. So then when they go into war, it's easier to take down these troops, man. But see, now this is the same thing that they do with these sanctions, man. They put sanctions on other nations to stop them from their, their military spending. All right, so, this is the whole purpose of putting these sanctions on Russia. It's like, look, man, they got these weapons that they're using in war and battle. If we can put sanctions on them, we can stop money from flowing into Russia. Then they can stop buying all these weapons, and they can stop going to war with Ukraine. So this is their mindset, man. All right, but ultimately, how does it wind up backfiring, man? Because, look, they put the sanctions on Russia, all right, and Russia's, because they're an energy exporter of liquid natural gas and things like that, also coal and oil, all right, and they sell to what? Eastern Europe. They basically make money off of those things, man. And also weapons as well, too, but mainly off of this here energy. All right, that's one of their big income, more or less to say. There's a word for it, gross domestic product. There's a word for, basically it's like their income. Like you go to your job, you get an income. But nevertheless, this is one of their major ways of income. So what do you want to do? Sanctioning them, right? All right, cutting them off from people using their trading and everything else like that. Well, these nations still need energy and things like that. Well, you cut them off from the SWIFT program and the petrodollar, which that was putting money in America's pockets. Because you got to understand how the petrodollar worked. They needed American dollars beforehand. But now it's like, all right, y'all gonna cut us off. Now we got to go through this here bank. Your allies, all right, the whore or the beast, Germany and Europe and all them, they still need this damn energy, bro. They gonna buy it one way or the other, because if not, they gonna wind up just fucking you putting us under sanctions and putting us under siege is actually putting your allies under siege. You don't realize that, all right? And when you put them under siege, all right, you gonna cut us off from the banking system. We'll just make it to where your allies have to buy or buy this oil under our currency instead of buying it under your currency, putting money in your pocket. You just put more money in our pocket. So what are you actually doing? All right, well, now we got more money to develop more and more weapons, man. As you see, Russia's developing more and more weapons, more higher caliber weapons, while America's falling behind, man. So, hey, America's put themselves in their own trick bag. So let's go ahead and read that, because, again, all these are prophecies coming to pass, man. Though the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, will surely come, it will not tarry. All right, these visions are speaking loud and clear right now, man. Now, everywhere he's trying to turn, let me grab that precept before I read this. All these different things is set forth for their own demise. This is Isaiah 47. And lo and behold, she don't even know it. Isaiah 47, I'm going to start at verse 10. All right, Isaiah 47 and 10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge has perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none is beside me. Part of their wickedness, they have what they call these think tanks, man. Council on Foreign Relations, Council or Committee of 300, all right, the Bilderberg Group, all these different people, they're different think tanks, man. You had this guy, you see, you look at these people like the president and things, and think the president has all kind of power and shit like that. These people are nothing more than, the face of the company, man. Your Joe Bidens and your Donald Trumps, they would be equivalent to Ronald McDonald, man. Ronald McDonald ain't setting no prices on how much the Big Mac costs, and when they gonna open up another McDonald's in what location. It's the people that's back at the company, man. The heads of the company and things like that. They the ones make those decisions and what the price is gonna be at, man. And what they also have think tanks and different committees that put these things together for them, man. But nevertheless, going back into this scenario, going back to looking at the president as the head leader. Hey, man, you know this guy's dead now, but matter of fact, his son is up there now. But you had this guy named Zbig Brzezinski. You can look him up. Zbig Brzezinski. It's spelled crazy, like Z-B-R-I-G. Zbig Brzezinski is his name, right? But he had been in the White House, All right, and a what they call a because they had these what they call like briefings and things, or an advisor in the White House. All right, one of the top advisors to the president in the White House since Jimmy Carter was the president, man. All the way up until when Barack Obama was the president, man. So who had more power? Was it Jimmy Carter, fucking Bush, Clinton, Obama? Who had more power? Those people that was in and out, or was it the dude that was advising them, Big Brzezinski, and these other fucking think tank people, man? See, you everyday Americans don't really take into account and realize how these things are really set forth to play. And even higher than those things, man, they have people that's up on top of them. And higher than that, what? The Most High is controlling the minds of all these people, bringing these things into fruition, into play, man. So ultimately, you know, you see the little, how they say, the smoke in the mirrors, the charades that's being played out on TV and everything. Hey, that's just nothing more but you know, a sideshow, man. All right? Let's go back. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 10 says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou said, None seeth me. Thy wisdom and knowledge it has perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me." All right, going back to what, like I said, we're going to keep reading, but it goes into what their witchcraft, their think tanks and things like that, man. They little councils, man. They sit down at the table, how are we going to do this, how are we going to do that? All right, we're going to have a false flag to do this, we're going to do that, and make the people believe one thing. And, you know, because you see, when you look at who owns all these companies and things like that, man, look up the image of the Tavistock Institute, man. You'll see there's an image where they show of all the, it's like a, how you call it, a octopus. And all these things are being controlled by, let me see how to quickly look this here up. Oops. All right. So, let me just read what their little a quick definition is. The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations is a British not-for-profit organization that applies social science to contemporary issues and problems. It was initiated in 1946 when it developed from the Tavistock Clinic and was formally established as a separate entity in September 1947. Sounds harmless and everything else like that, but when you look at let's see if I can find this image. And see, it's not even easily to find. There's one image, but there's a certain image. Oh, here it is, right here. That's not even an image, but there's a certain image where it shows how it says, like, you have the Council of 13, the Bilderberg Group, the Council of Foreign Relations, the United Nations, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the House of Rockefeller, the group, MI5, you know, Socialist Workers Party, all these different things, these groups and think tanks, how they control and manipulate people and everything else like that, man. So this is going into their so-called witchcraft and the things that their think tanks that they have put forth to move along all these things. But ultimately, all these different things are coming back down, crashing upon them, man. Like I said, when they try to put sanctions on Russia to try to starve them out, all they actually doing right now is making them richer, man. All right, so they're getting caught in their own snares, their own traps, which we're gonna get to next. Let me finish this here off. Isaiah 47:10, it says, "For thou hast trusted in wickedness, and thy wickedness thou hast said, None seeth me. Thy wisdom, thy knowledge, it has perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. Mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know." All right, because look, they plan and plan and plan and plan. They got a plan A, what they call contingency plans. If plan A failed, they got a plan B. Plan B failed, they got a plan C, and they go all the way down and all the way back on around. They have what they call game theory, where they have simulations, where they constantly run simulations of these things, all right, going out so they can get the best so-called possible outcome, man. All right, so nevertheless, hey, these people have, they have these think tanks where they sit around just how do I say, run again game theory on how these things actually work, man. Continuing on. Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. So, hey, just like in the times that they're in now, getting caught up in their own snares, their own traps, because this is how they used to get move forward beforehand. We'll just go and ask the council about this. We'll ask them how we should move, But look, man, hey, Satan is ultimately casting your ass out, because ultimately you're being, even Satan is being orchestrated by the Most High, man, bringing your ass to your own destruction, man. Verse 12, it says, stand now with thy enchantment, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so thou be able to profit, if so thou mayest be able to prevail. So ultimately, you know, standing with thy enchantment, you know, all this here, like I said, this witchcraft, there's different councils that they have, the different think tanks and things like that. They sit around with these different witches and things like that, make their sacrifices and things like that, man. There was this dude back in the day, what's his name, was John Todd, I believe. You know, he was breaking down how in the music and the movie industry, they have the same thing go on with these different think tanks, man. That's why it takes so long for a music project to come out, or a different a movie to come out. You know, and yeah, granted, you have nowadays with the music, people can sit there and record something on their phone today and upload it to the internet tomorrow, but it don't have the same everlasting effect like music did back in the olden days, man. When they would make an album and then they would sit on it for a couple months to a year, they was waiting on certain you know, what they would have in their high wicked days or whatever. All right, certain moons and everything else like that, they would go in and they'll put it before the altar. All right, and they would you know, put spirits on certain things like that so that it will go out and reach certain people, man. John Todd was talking about all these different things. So they had even their think tanks, their witches and their witches and wizards and things like that perform their witchcraft over their enterprise, their little project to move forward. Same with Esau in this scenario you got going on now, man. On a world scale of domination, man. You have the same thing going on, man. It says, verse 12, stand now with the multitude, stand now with thine enchantment and with the multitude of thy sorcery, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so thou shalt be able to profit, if so thou mayest prevail. All right, so hey, go back to your soothsayers. Let me keep reading. It says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. All right, going back to these think tanks, man. That's what a lot of these different people are. You know, the Committee of 300, the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, and all these. Look them all up, man. They'll tell you in layman's terms, oh, it's just a committee of people, a think tank. They use that word a lot, think tank. It's just a group of people that sit down, how we gonna do this, how we gonna do that. We're gonna plan, plot, and strategize about all these different things, man. This is all they do all day in and day out. But ultimately, you know, we know that they're going before Satan, man. All right. It says, stand now with thy enchantment, with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, and so thou shalt be able to profit, if so thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers and stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, and fire shall burn them, and they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it. It says, thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander everyone to his own quarter, none shall save thee. So hey, even Satan gonna leave your ass out there to bear, man. But nevertheless, going into their own plans, their own councils, their own things that they have going on, their own think tanks, their own shit that their own agendas that they putting forth, man, and everything that they doing, man. Because ultimately, like with this internet, man, we can go back further than that. You know, when they was barbecuing Jake, you know, having picnics and barbecuing Jake, man. They had us up there on those trees, burning us and lynching us and things like that. What did they do, man? They took their little cameras to instill these images. Let's create a device where we can entrap an image in there forever, for keepsake, for record's sake. Then now let's go over here, let's hang a nigga real quick and then take a picture of that shit, man. And let's keep these things on file for everything. Now let's get a hard drive and a storage drive, a computer, so we can save things forever, man. Now let's upload these things so we can access this thing worldwide. We can share information as quick as that. We can share it all the way around the world. We can duplicate it all, you know, as many times as we want. Let's create an internet, man. Let's have a global search bank of all these different things, man. Now all of a sudden, now the snare is coming down upon your own ass. Now what? We found out what you was doing unto us, man. See all these images of you oppressing us, all the wickedness you've done on the earth, man. All these records now are out there, man. Oh, we need to be able to have a way of communication in real time around the world, man. Oh, now what? These videos are going up, man. Now we're able to spread the word a lot faster than it was back in the olden days, man. When the apostles was on the scene, they had to actually travel from point A to point B, from this place to that place to actually go forth and preach the word in the gospel, man. Now, you know, hey, hell, for right now, you know, you can be in your one spot where it's just you out there, a couple people out there listening to you. But look, you upload the video on the internet. Now the whole world's able to see your video, man. Now you're able to touch the ears of millions of people, man. All right, but nevertheless, you know, and we know this is for a small sanctuary, not for the whole masses, but you get the point of what I'm saying, man. Now you're able to reach a lot more with what this here internet. But hey, that's a snare that's coming down upon Esau, man. He the one created all these things, but now this is becoming a snare unto him, man. All right, but let's go back into let me read this real quick in Job chapter 18 and verse 5, because you know we were just reading about how his own counsel is casting him down, you know, especially with that Ukraine and Russia scenario, man. All right, you over here bluffing with Ukraine, telling them what you was gonna do for them and everything else like that. All right, then you left them, they ass out there to dry, and now these other nations who you was trying to pin deals with, seeing how you left Ukraine out there, now they over there backtracking. Oh hell no, actually we don't want to go out there with that. We see how they didn't F them over. Now we don't want to be, you know, we don't want to see the same thing, man. You see how I was dealing with somebody, everybody like, yo man, so-and-so got the goods over there, you should invest into this, you should do that, and then all of a sudden your friend invests first, then he wound up getting robbed. Hey man, homeboy done robbed me for my shit, man. Now what are you gonna do? You gonna take heed to what happened to your boy? You know what, I'm not gonna invest into this here scenario because I seen how they just took him out, man, or how they robbed him, man. Or you gonna sit over there and invest your money with them even though your boy just got robbed, man. No, you gonna stand back. You know what's best for me is to stand back and not invest into this, man. So now these other nations start to say, you know what, maybe we don't want to you know, again, is this the man that destroyed the kingdoms of the earth and destroyed the world? Maybe we don't want to go over here with this guy because all he's going to do is bring death and destruction into our land. All he's going to do is actually leave us out there to dry. So these nations are now starting to back off of those things, man. All right, Ukraine is starting to side with Russia at this point in time, man. All right, causing them to go along like, you know, like prophecies say, man. Going back with the hooks into their jaws, man. So let's go back. Job 18 and verse 5, it says, yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. It says, the light shall be dark in his tabernacle. His candle shall be put out with him. So, hey, man, his so-called, you know, they call it the Illuminati, the enlightened ones. The enlightened ones, you know, because, wow, they can, see in the darkness, man. They have the so-called information to get, you know, move forward, man. But what, now it's starting to become a snare to them. Now it's starting to become a stumbling block unto them. Now it's starting to become like, yo, I thought I had a light to be able to guide me in the dark, but now I'm just running in the wall after wall after wall after wall after wall, man. So, hey, these things are starting to come into, how do I say, becoming snares or misguided traps unto them. Job 18 and verse 5 again. Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the sparks of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. So, hey, as he's starting to fall, his knowledge, well, first and foremost, before he falls, his knowledge is starting to fall and fail him, man. All right, now he's being cast out by his own knowledge, man. You would think that homeboy got all the moves. He been, you know, he's 100 for 100. You know, you see some people that's professional gamblers, or they've been rigging the system. They know how to count cards. Yo, I know how to count cards. I'm 100 for 100, man. I've been out here racking up this here money. But now your last couple hands, you starting to fail, man. You think you're gonna, hey, you know what? We're gonna cut our losses. We're gonna leave here now, man. All right. It says, verse 7: the steps of his strength shall be straightened. His own counsel shall cast him down. All right, and that's what you're seeing right now, man. Putting them sanctions on Russia. All right, while your allies still need to buy that energy from Russia. All right, it's causing them to do, causing Russia to be like, all right, you want to sanction our bank? We'll just start selling our shit at the last endpoint in a ruble. So now your allies, you know, you're gonna cut us off from the SWIFT system. All right, well, we don't need your American dollars no more. You just devalue your own dollars, making it more weaker. Now these other nations are starting to say, hey, well, fuck it. America keep devaluing their dollar. It's not really beneficial for us. Let us trade in this here other currency. What they gonna do? They gonna bomb us or something? We got Russia to our aid. So now more and more people are abandoning that American dollar, the petrodollar. More and more people are abandoning that now. All right, and more people are starting to trade in different currencies, man. All right, and especially with this ruble, is all that's doing is what, putting more money in Russia's pocket. So the point in the how do I say, the whole purpose of putting sanctions on Russia was to so-called bankrupt them. But in the process of you trying to bankrupt Russia, you actually made them some more money, man. All right, so hey, look, yo, let me read it again. Job 18 and 7: the steps of his strength shall be straightened. His own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast in a net by his own feet. He walketh upon a snare. Hey, keep pushing on Russia, man. Sanction Russia even more. All you doing is just enriching their ass. All right, go ahead and sanction more of your partners out there, man. Threaten more of your European partners with certain things, man. All you're gonna do is turn your enemies into your or your allies into your enemies, man. All right, go ahead and keep blowing this false hope up these potential NATO members, these ex-Soviet members, man. Keep giving them these fake ass lies and everything else like that. All it's gonna do is actually turn them to run into Russia a lot more faster, man. Russia's not gonna have to go and snatch their ass up by brute force. No, they're gonna willingly just be like, yo, hey, we wanna join y'all. We wanna be with y'all, man. Let us serve you again, man, because serving this nigga is no good for us, man. So every move that you want to make it right now, it's like one of the, I forgot what they call them, but it's like a Chinese finger trap or something where you put your fingers together like that. And the way to get out of the damn trap, you put your two index fingers together, but the way to get out of the trap is to what? Is to actually push your fingers together. The more you pull them apart, the more that little weaved mesh tightens up on your fingers. So look, ultimately you have to push your fingers together, do the opposite of what you're trying to do to get your fingers out, because the natural thing is to separate your fingers like that, but doing that is just squeezing it tighter around your fingers. So that's like the snare that America's caught in, man. So hey, man, you're caught all the way around, man. You was found caught because you striven with the Most High, man. Let me grab that real quick because hey, this is a beautiful time that we're living in, man. All right, this place was able to thrive for so long, to move forward for so long, but now all of a sudden, you know, we starting to see her downfall, man. All right. Let me try to find this real fast. Hang on. Should have been right here. Oh, yep. Damn, let me just start at the top because there's a whole bunch in here. All right, let me finish this off first, and we'll come back to this because hey, this is to the point where America is caught at, man. All right, let me finish reading this on down in Job, and we'll get over to this Jeremiah. All right, this is Job 18 and 7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened; his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast in a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon a snare. All right, so hey, he's caught in his own trap that he set for himself, man. He's you know, you see what they call it, Wile E. Coyote trying to catch the road runner, man. And he set the dynamite and he blow it up, and then the dynamite is attached to his own tail and it blows up in his own face, man. This is what they doing, man. Every step that he makes is actually a hindrance to himself, man. It says the snare, verse 9. The gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. All right, and who's gonna wind up? You know, the scriptures say because I have spoiled many nations. How does it go? Actually, give me 1 second. All right. Habakkuk 2 and let's get to the point. Habakkuk 2 and 8 says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, and because of men's blood. Oh man, hold on, I gotta go up because we was talking. Let me read this verse again back in Job 18 and 9. It says, the gin shall take him by the heel, the robber shall prevail against him. So we're going into that robber that's going to prevail against him. So let's go to Habakkuk. Let's start up a little bit at verse 5. All right, because look, America's known as that great thief, man. All right, going forth to rape, rob, and murder, man. Let's just read it real quick. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and as his death cannot be satisfied. So, hey, man, homeboy don't ever stay at home, man. He's always in somebody else's business, always in somebody else's country, man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, can't be satisfied, unfulfillable, man. And he got it all, he want more. All right? Hey, he filled his pockets with everybody else's goods, and guess what? He done went in his own pockets and stole from his own self just so he can have more, man. All right? It says, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, man. And why does he gather all these other nations unto him, man? To steal what? Their resources, man. To take what they have, man. He can't be satisfied with what he has. He has to have yours as well, too. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, and you know, you have a lot of different nations right now that are saying this on these world stage settings that's basically saying, look, man, none of this shit would have happened if y'all would have stuck to y'all agreement with with the NATO situation, man. Look, y'all said, look, y'all can dissolve the USSR, all right, under the pretext that, look, NATO wouldn't move another inch towards the east. And what have y'all been doing since 1991, man? Encroaching on their territories, constantly moving closer and closer and closer and closer, man. So, hey, man, this is what you're starting to see happening, man. This is the things that you're starting to see bringing them into their own snare, man. Now you're starting to see how they're making their so-called friends become enemies, man, from their own doings, man. Nobody told them. These other nations really didn't have they didn't have the balls to come up against America to begin with. And secondly, they ain't really had a smoke for America. But the fact of the matter is, they all have one common denominator. America got their hand in everybody else's cookie jar, and they like, look, bro, we tired of this whore. Let's keep reading. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. So let's go back to verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? Going into being for booty, that's what the spoils of war, man. All right, you about to be the spoils of war, man. You about to be taken by the robber, man. The robber is about to come into your house now and spoil your ass, man. And why? It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All right, and this is why the robber is about to prevail against you, because why? You spoiled many nations, man. It says, verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and all that dwell therein. All right, and so this is what ultimately is coming back up into your face, man. This is how do I say, what's causing the robbers to come in and prevail against you, man. So let's finish that off in the book of Job 18 and verse 6 again. Verse 9. The gent shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. All right, you know, we just read about that. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. All right, and he's on course for that shit right now, man. This is like those what do you call it, those little mosquito lights, those purple lights where the bugs see it, and he's like, you know, whatever cartoon that was or Disney anime that was, he's looking at the lights like, I just can't stop looking at it, and he flies directly into the shit he caught already, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like that fish is down there biting onto that bait, man. Once you bite into the bait and that hook is in your jaw, bro, you already caught. You can fight against it as much as you want, but you already caught, man. You good as caught. You've let your appetite precede you, man. All right, the lust of your belly precede you, and guess what? That's what wound up catching your ass up, man. You couldn't be sufficed with what you already had. You had to have more. All right. It says, verse 10, the snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. And this is the point where he's at right now, where, hey, he's starting to see these rocky relationships, or all his relationships turn sour, man. You know, with his own allies are defined with his words. It's like, you know what, we're going to still buy this here oil. Are you defy me like that? Look, all right, we're going to sanction your ass too, man. He's going to start sanctioning all his own allies and putting them in a hard spot. Might have to pull out our military equipment from your land and everything else like that, cutting ties with you. They already had talks about getting rid of NATO and coming out with what they call an Indo-Pacific pact, different pacts with different nations and everything else. Oh, NATO becoming obsolete. They don't want to take on their fair share and getting rid of them and trying to get new partners and everything else like that. But hey, ultimately we know that all America's allies are going to want to turn it on them, man. You're starting to see things like what, Brexit and things like that. So they're not cleaving to one another like you would think they would cleave to one another, because why? Hey, man, it's all according to the scriptures, man. These are the things that's being fulfilled, man. Or though it tarry, wait for it, it'll surely come. It will not tarry, man. All right, so it's what, for the appointed time, man. So now we're starting to see these prophecies speaking and not lying, man. All these things that was written aforetime are now all starting to come to pass. Now they're all starting to come off the page. Now it's all becoming clear, and I see it clearly happening right now, man. All right. It says, verse 12, his strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. And so, hey, man, you know, ultimately it's up against the Most High. We're going to read that, but let me read that last part. It says, his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle. And part of that is going into what? You know, you seeing them, you know, they was talking about with Ukraine about, you know, they was all talking big. We're going to defend every inch of NATO territory. They kept saying those things before things started popping off. You know, we would do everything. We would back them up, and we'll do all these different things. But then when shit started popping off and shit started hitting the fan, what did America say? Oh, we'll send y'all some guns. We're not sending no troops. We'll send y'all some guns. We ain't sending y'all no troops. Then they was like, oh, we need a no-fly zone. We need America and NATO to give us a no-fly zone. They was like, hell nah. What was it, Stoltenberg or whatever his name is? the head of NATO was like, look, man, we can't give y'all no fly zone. You know, what your boy name is, Biden said, hey, we can't give a no fly zone because, you know, they was both came to the same conclusion. You know, Russia is well, somewhat the same conclusion. Biden said, hey, Russia is a nuclear power. All right. And matter of fact, let me read this real quick. This other article. Because it's the same tone. All right. His confidence is being rooted out. All right, here's a different article which says U.S. make call on nuclear missile tests. All right, let me just get to the point. I'm gonna read a couple different paragraphs, but just to get to the point real quick, you know, about their confidence being rooted out. Because before they were like, motherfucker, we'll sign an agreement saying nobody gonna test no more nuclear bombs on the face of the earth. But yet, America's the only one that's testing nuclear bombs. Like, well, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna bomb us or something? Nobody else can create no more nuclear bombs, but America creating nuclear bombs. What you gonna do? Bomb us or something? Nobody can fight with chemical weapons, but America got chemical weapons labs and fighting with chemical weapons. What you gonna do? Bomb us? But see, now they changing their little tune. Now they changing their little, the music that they dancing to, right? So this one says, U.S. makes call on nuclear missile tests. The Pentagon fears miscalculation amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So now, for the first time, you're starting to hear them speak to a different tune. Now you're starting to hear them talk with a different tone, and they, a little less bass in their voice, more or less to say. Because why? They start to see all these things, bringing them. Look, all right, bro. If we make this here certain move, this could be the end of us. All right, like Biden said, hey man, we dealing with a capable nuclear power out there, man. This ain't nothing to fuck around with, man. All right, with the wrong miscalculation, the wrong misinterpretation of certain things, hey, the whole thing could go up real quick, man. So we got to make sure that we got this shit to a T, man. All right. It says the U.S. defense officials have canceled a planned test of an intercontinental ballistic missile to reduce the risk of catastrophic misinterpretation or miscommunication at a time when Russian nuclear forces are on high alert amid Moscow's military offensive in Ukraine. So again, America numbers talking to a different tune. Their confidence is rooted out, man. They beforehand they were like, bro, we don't give a fuck what y'all got going on. Because before you would see them do these joint military drills, they were like, oh, Russia about to have a military drill off here in this here water over here. Guess what? We're gonna just at the spur of the moment have a military drill right there beside them in the water. And guess what we gonna do? We're gonna be firing right there beside their ass to calm their shit the fuck down and make them, hey man, we'll have our own military drill beside us. We wish y'all would spit overboard or spit in our direction. We wish y'all would do that shit. Nowadays, they like, look, we don't even want to test no nuclear missiles nowhere off no sides of nowhere in case Russia might think that we just launched a nuke on their ass. So we don't want them to just misinterpret these things and everything just go up in flames all like real quick, man. So now all of a sudden they got a different tune into their mouths, man. All right, let's go back to this here article. It says, well, I can keep reading on down. It says, the decision against testing the LGM-30G Minuteman III missile was first reported on February by Reuters, which cited comments from the U.S. Air Force spokeswoman. It comes months after the same test was delayed because Russian President Vladimir Putin had ordered his country's nuclear deterrent forces to be on higher state of readiness and special regime of combat duty. The ICBM test has now been called off altogether for same reasons, Air Force spokeswoman Ann Stefanik said. The Air Force's confidence in its readiness of strategic forces of the United States, and noted that the next test is scheduled for later this year. So they pushing their own things back now because of their own fear. All right. Let me read this last one. It says, it was more in this article I wanted to read, but we might not get to that point, going into the missiles. But it says, the Pentagon spokesman Todd Bresell also confirmed that the test was called off on concerns that Moscow would view it as escalatory. All right, so they don't want. Hey, I thought America was the big bad. Who gonna stop us? Who gonna take us down? I thought America was the big bad wolf. Now they starting to consider these certain things, man. All right, now they starting to see certain things going on. Like, you know what? Hey, they didn't went on nuclear readiness and everything else like that. Where is that at?
Hang on. Give me 1 second. Well, thought it was right here. Hang on 1 second. Oh, right here. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 43. It says, "The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him as pangs of a woman in travail." Hey, so now, again, that confidence is being rooted out. Now they having a different tune that they march to. Now they saying, look, bro, we can't send a nuclear test going on because we don't want them to, let me just keep reading. It says, Pentagon spokesperson Todd Brasel also confirmed that the test was called off over concerns with viewed as escalatory. He told NBC News that the launch has been delayed due to an overabundance of caution to avoid misinterpretation or miscommunication during the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. And so, like I was just saying beforehand, Russia would be conducting joint military drills out in the water, and then all of a sudden, America would just pull up with their damn boats, like, yo, we way on the other side of the globe with our ships, but guess what? We're gonna pull up on Russia and them, and you would see videos of ships pretty much passing one another, almost colliding with one another, all right, and everything else like that, just to so-called create these provocations and make them say, we ain't scared of y'all and everything. But now America's on a different tune, man. No, we ain't even gonna test our missiles right now because we don't want Russia to think that we done launch one or take this as an aggressive act or escalatory act, and then for them to just start looking at us like that now. All right, they want all the smoke off of them, all eyes off of them right now because they don't want any direct heat with Russia, man. Oh, y'all want to start launching nukes over this way? We'll start testing nukes right there on your waters and things like that. Hey, fuck with it if you want to, but we know ultimately this is how it's gonna all end. All right, so let's get back to that in Jeremiah 50. Let me start at Jeremiah 50 and verse 22. It says, "A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction." All right, going into what? World War III. All right, and that's what you see in taking these topics on the news right now. It's a lot of talk about these certain things. These things didn't happen. The last time we heard somebody talk like this, they keep making all these references to World War II. All right, the last time they're comparing Vladimir Putin to Hitler. They say last time we heard somebody talk like this was when Hitler was on the scene. The last time we had these things happen was in World War II. The last time we was at this threatened, heightened sense of threats was at World War II. The last time this happened was World War II. The last time these things happened, everything keep referencing back to then, man. Because wow, this is the spirit that's being brought back up in the world right now, man. World War, man. All right, we read about that in the book of Joel, man. All right, cause thy mighty men to come down. All right. In fact, we didn't even finish that off, but hey, that's how the spirit works. Sometimes bring you all the way back on around. All right. Oh, Joel chapter 3. Joel 3 and 9 says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause the mighty ones to come down." It says, "Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit and judge all the heathen round about." So this is the times that we're coming into where the Lord is about to bring in the time of wars and rumors of wars, man. Or we already in the times of wars and rumors of wars. You're seeing the wars starting to take place right now, all right? So it says, "Put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision." So, going into what? World War III, man. These are the drums that's being beat in the in the backdrop right now, man. Again, going back into all these different news articles and these different sayings that they're saying and everything else like that. It's let me read this again. Verse Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says, "The sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction." This is the sound that you pretty much hearing around the globe, man. This ain't like, you know, back in the days when America was invaded in the Middle East, or even in Vietnam and things like that. Nobody was really thinking that was going to turn to World War III and things like that, man. That wasn't an option on the table, man. All right, those things was kind of far off. But now you're starting to see these conflicts with Russia and things like that. People are, oh shit, World War III might pop off. World War III might be real. We might be going to World War III and everything else like that, man. All right, even with the time when America bombed Soleimani, all right, you know what I'm saying? They knew that was an ally of Russia. All right, they're like, oh shit, man, we might go into World War III dealing with this here scenario, man. So, hey, people know that when these things start to come to pass, that this is what's in the backdrop. These are the things that's coming to being built up, man. These are the sounds that you're hearing in the background, man. A sound of battle, man. World War III, man. All right, going back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 22 again. It says, Jeremiah 50 and 22, it says, "A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations?" So, hey, man, you know, reading in between the lines, we can see a lot of different things, man. The scriptures call Babylon, all right, the hammer of the whole earth, all right? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? So what also is it saying? This is the time in the midst of what? World War III, that America's going to be taken off the face of the earth. America's not going to prevail in this here last final war, man. America's going to be left out there to dry. It's going to be left wholly desolate, man. All right, so what? This is what's going into, and these top Edomites know. They know about the prophecies. They know that they have a bounds that they can't pass, man. They know about these things, man. They know that their days are numbered, man. All right. Slocky, give me a sec. Job chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass." And Esau knows these things, man. Esau understands that, hey, the writing is on the wall. He has a limited time, more or less to say. He has an expiration date. And what is this going to force his hand to do, man? All right, this is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows he have but a short time." So he knows he's on a borrowed time. He knows he has a limited time. He knows he has boundaries he can't pass. So what? He's going to want, hey, the pride of his heart has deceived this nigga, man. He think that, hey, you know what, I'm going to go and do this, I'm going to go and do that, I can fight against the Lord. Hey, but he knows it's not going to end well with him, but what, the pride of his heart, well, fuck it, there might be a chance anyway, man. All right, hey, you got to think, and these people are the same people that tell you not to be believing in faith, but this nigga got a lot of faith in himself that he's going to prevail against the Holy One of Israel, man. But he's sadly mistaken, man. Like the scripture says, the pride of his heart has deceived him, man. He think because he done hammered the whole earth into oblivion, he going to do the same thing to the Lord and his elect. But, hey, that's not so, man. It's already written, man. All right? But nevertheless, we was just reading about how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder. This is the plan of the Most High, man. Matter of fact, let me try to get to that real quick. Hang on one second. Just getting to the point. Jeremiah 51 and 11. It says, "Make bright the arrows. Make bright the arrows and gather the shields." All right, and hey, we seeing these things happen right now, man. Make it bright the arrows. You know, the advancement of this here technology. All right, back in World War II, they was dropping bombs from, well, really World War I. They was just airdropping bombs, man. World War II, you know, they had, what do you call it, ballistic missiles, you know, like jet-powered missiles and things like that, where they were shooting them off. The V1 and V2 rocket, you know, Hitler had all that technology. But yet and still, the way they was shot off was, you know, in an arching fashion, just like the regular artillery shells that they be shooting off. You know, they just kind of angle it a certain type of way. It's like you holding out a Roman candle. You got it at a certain angle, it's going to go out so far, the distance and arc over and then fall down. That's how it was back in the olden days. But nowadays, it says make bright the arrows, you know, and gather the shields. But making bright the arrows, now they have what? Precision missiles, man. All right, they can put in a calculation and have enough fuel for them to take off and to go in this direction, to move and change directions. All right, you have the Saramat 2, Satan 2 missile from Russia, man. That thing can adjust while it's in midair. All right, the warheads can change paths while they're in midair. All right, nuclear powered cruise missiles with an unlimited fuel range, man. All right, that can be traveling in the air indefinite, man. Constantly changing course, man. All right, changing different targets, man. All right, that's one of the, matter of fact, let me go back to this here article we was reading that, since, you know, the Lord brought it right back full circle around, talking about these missiles, man. Let me read a little bit about these here missiles real quick. And these are the American missiles, which, and they even tell you in this here article, let me read this part. Matter of fact, it's all in this one paragraph. It says the silo launched Minuteman III. All right, these are talking about the American missiles, which they're gonna get into, but these are some old ass missiles, man. Like again, like we just read, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Hey, let me read this other precept. See, some of these precepts, hey, the vision's yet for an appointed time, man. And these things are all coming to pass as we see, back to back to back to back. That's why the scripture also say it should be precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, man. Hey, all these things are put forth, make a greater picture, man. Make it vivid for us, man. Bring forth the whole vision for us, man. Ezekiel 38, just to the point. We might come back to this, but I just want to bring out this here point in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 7. It says, "Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all the company that are assembled unto thee, and be a guard unto them." But the point I wanted to grab was, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, man. All right, let me look up something real quick, because you know, and we also read about beat your plowshares and the spears. All right, let me find something real quick. So going into preparing ourselves, right? It says to be set up, to be established, to be fixed, to be firmly established. All right, to be fixed, to be securely determined, to be directed aright, to prepare, to be ready, be prepared, arranged, settled. All right, to accomplish, to set up, to arrange, to order, to constitute, to make, to fix, to direct, establish, be prepared, to restore. All right, so hey, when Russia's preparing themselves, this is what they all are doing, man. They're getting ready these missiles, man, getting ready and preparing for themselves, man. But hey, that's what they've been doing for the longest time, making bright the arrows and things like that, man. That's what Russia's been doing. You had a Satan 2 missile, Satan 1 and Satan 2, I believe. Both of these missiles was pretty much designed and created, what, I believe in Barack Obama's time in office, man. They're not that old of missiles, man. And Russia pretty much further advanced a lot more of their weapons under Trump with the hypersonic missiles, all right, and everything else like that, man. All right, so let's go back to this here article. Now, again, we're reading about the American ones and how old these American ones are, man. All right, because look, the scriptures was talking about the advancements of the weapons for what? For Russia, man. All right, for them to make bright the arrows and to gather the shields. All right, prepare themselves, coming forth with the bucklers and the shields and the helmets. All right, and what did you see Russia starting to prepare with? What, those S-300s, S-400s, S-500s, S-550s, all right, all these different missile defense systems. Russia's the one that's developing these things, man. America ain't developed theirs from the olden days, man. They still have, but their missile defense systems are called what? The THAAD, what is it? Some kind of high altitude, basically a missile defense system, you know what I'm saying? And also, what is it? The THAAD system and the Patriot system, man. And then, you know, in other places around the globe, they tell them under different names, like the Iron Dome system, all right, David Sling and everything else like that. But it's pretty much all the same system, man. These are all old, outdated systems. Even their nuclear missiles, what we're going to read about, the Minuteman III, these are old-ass systems, man, but they still rely on these things, man. All right, it says the silo-launched Minuteman III can carry multiple warheads, just like the Russian one can, but the Russian one can carry more than the Minuteman III. All right, this is an older system. It says the silo-launched Minuteman III can carry multiple warheads. All right, and also going into the 200 million missiles that's raining down. People don't have that proper understanding of hold on. Try not to drop all this. Let me just. This is people don't quite have people don't have a good understanding of these things. But let me read on to this real quick. Revelation 9, I'm gonna just start at verse 16. It says, and the number of the army of horsemen were 200,000 thousands, and I heard the number of them. You know, going into what, the 200 million missiles, right? Well, we say, you know, that's really a bad on our terms by saying the 200 million missiles, because you have to understand, you know, this is the talk that we understand it in. But when you see these so-called missiles, all right, you know, it's really the warheads that we're talking about, not the missiles. The missile is nothing more than a delivery system, man. All right, just like you think about a car, man. You know, you can have one vehicle pull up, like, oh, there's one vehicle outside. Well, how many people are in that vehicle? You can have a 9-passenger vehicle where 9 people come out of that one vehicle, man. Oh, it's 5 cars outside. But how many people pulled up? You can have 5 vehicles with 1 individual in each car. It's 5 people. Or you can have, you know, 9, let's say 10 passengers in each car where you got 5 vehicles pull up. Now there's 50 people outside, man. And only, what, 5 cars, man. So the same thing here with these here missiles, man. All right. So it says, and I heard the number of the horse, Revelation 9:16. I heard the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000 thousands, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them. Having breastplates of fire and of jacinth, and of brimstone, and the heads of horses and the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issue fire and smoke and brimstone. All right. Let me just keep reading on down. Verse 18, by these 3 was the third part of man killed by fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. All right, going back into their mouth again, right? It says, by these 3 was the third part of man killed by fire. We just read that. By fire and by smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. For the power, here's the point, for the power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails was like on the serpents, and their heads were, and they had heads, and with them they do hurt. So let's just tackle, you know, the tails, man. All right, you know, they had the power in their tail because why? In the tail of these, what you would call ballistic missiles. All right, again, going back to World War I, they was dropping bombs out of the sky, free falling. World War II, you know, Hitler then rolled up with those V1 and V2 rockets, all right, which was ballistic missiles, basically jet propelled, man. All right, which is the same thing that they didn't just upgraded to take the satellites. When you see the space shuttles and shit like that going to space, man, that's basically the same delivery system, man. All right, they just changed the tip or the payload that it's carrying, man. So, you know, you talk about nations with thermonuclear missiles and things like that, or, you know, we know that Esau is the one that creates these things, whether it be the Russians or the Americans, the warheads, that is. But the rest of the delivery system, man, if they got satellites that's going into space, man, they can launch a thermonuclear missile or ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile on your ass, man. But nevertheless, the point here we was going into was the power was in their tail because, wow, that's the propulsion system, right? But it also said, for the power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails was like unto serpents. Now, the tails being like serpents, when you see those missiles being shot off, they leave a smoke trail after them, man. All right, you see that smoke tail that's going off, and you see the rockets going forth. It's like as if you was to put a snake in the sand, and you see him slithering off, you leave a trail behind him, man. You can follow after him based off of that trail. All right, so that's going into the tail, right? The propulsion system into the tail, and then also seeing the trail after him. But it also said, for their power is in their mouth, All right, and then their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and they had heads, and with them they do hurt. All right, so you have three parts of this here missile, man. You have just like a bow and arrow, man. All right, that's the modern day bow and arrow. You have the body of it, which is for stability and everything else like that, and also for helping transport it down range. But then you also have the tail, which is also for stability and basically more control and everything else like that. The propulsion system, like an arrow, a bow and arrow, and an actual missile. All right, but then you have what? The tip of that bow and arrow is the part that actually hurt. All right, that's actually the weaponry part of a bow and arrow, man. All right, when you shoot a bow and arrow at somebody, when that tip goes and pierces inside the flesh, that's the part that hurt. The rest of the bow and arrow ain't really nothing, man. As far as the hurting part of the weapon part of the arrow, it's just more or less to get it down range. Same with these thermonuclear missiles, man, the ICBMs, man. All right, the warhead inside the tip of it is the damaging part. Like I said, they use the same damn delivery system. It's the delivery system that take the satellites into space. All right, they take the space shuttle up into space and everything else like that. They just detach, you know what I'm saying? They just Batmobile get down the road. But you know what I'm saying? They'll take off the warheads off these intercontinental ballistic missiles basically, and they'll put a satellite on that bitch. Shoot that bad boy up into space, because again, this is how they shoot these missiles from one landmass to the other landmass. Let me grab that real quick. We came talking about these missiles. Here's one. Might have to go somewhere else to find the other precept, but here's one real quick. Jeremiah 50:9, it says, "For lo, I will raise the cause to come up against Babylon, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken." So from the land of Babylon, or from the land of the north, or Russia, all right, Babylon is going to be taken. Let me see if I can find this other precept. I think it's let me see. Yep. Isaiah 13:5, it says, "They come from a far country, even from the ends of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land." So, hey, even going into the destroying the whole land, what do these Americans call it, man? Weapons of mass destruction, man, to take out the whole land. All right, and we're going to get back to that article where it talks about those things, destroying the whole land. All right, it says they come from a far country, even into heaven. So going back into how these missiles work, again, they have that body, that rocket part, which takes the missiles up into Earth's upper orbit, all right, and it drops off from there, and let the tip of it go forward, all right, and then it goes into a better position, and then they have what they call a re-entry vehicle or something like that, unmanned re-entry vehicle or something like that, which is that tip of that bad boy, which that tip is gonna open up, and there's multiple warheads in it that rain back down on your targets, man. All right, that's how they shoot these missiles from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth, man. So, like I said, the power was in the head and the tail. Well, the tail is the propulsion portion of it. You know what I'm saying? And the body also helps it, with propulsion, holding the fuel and everything else like that, and stabilizing it, getting it down range. But when that tip break off, man, that tip is the part that do the damage, man. That tip open up, and those multiple warheads come out raining down on you, man. So let's get back to the article, which is going to go into all these things, man. It says, the silo-launched Minuteman III can carry multiple warheads, all right? Which, again, going back into how it was from the beginning, this is their older scenarios, man. These older weapons, which we're going to get to further in this article. These are older warheads or older whole missiles. But when they get to, what Russia and them have, they got some new upgraded missiles, man. All right, the Satan II can carry more than the Satan I missile. All right, so, hey, man, they got all kind of different bombs out there now, man. All right, and if you can go look up to the largest one that was ever detonated, which was the Tsar Bomba from Russia. That was the largest nuclear bomb ever detonated on the earth. And that shit is like a firecracker in comparison to a goddamn bomb going off. That's not even a thermonuclear missile, man, or a thermonuclear bomb. And that was just one bomb. All right, again, that's equivalent to having one warhead, basically. All right, now Russia got multiple bombs that's bigger than that shit there. America do too, but, we talking about what Russia got in their arsenal. But going back to this article, it says the silo-launched Minuteman III can carry multiple warheads and strike separate targets miles away from each other. So going back to that head is bringing the pain, bringing the hurt down, man. That one warhead, or the one tip has multiple warheads in it, man. All right, they can strike multiple. This is why they say, hey, the Satan II is the Texas killer, man, because you can launch off what you would look at as one missile into the up into the air, and it come raining down with 15 different warheads on your ass. And, you know, they miles away, all the way from one end of Texas to the other end of Texas. They didn't launch off one missile. All of a sudden, Texas no longer exists, man. All right, and think about it. They got like thousands of these vehicles. That's how they count the vehicles, not the warheads. All right. Going back, it says the silo-launched Minuteman II, or the silo-launched Minuteman III, can carry multiple warheads and strike separate targets miles away from each other. It has a range of more than 6,000 miles and can travel at 15,000 miles per hour. The missile was first developed in 1970 and production ceased in 1978. So think about that, man. They ain't really been building no more of these damn missiles like that from that time, man. Or so they say, right? You know, ultimately, because we know that the Most High got the number of all these things. But, hey, you know, they would say, oh, we have these treaties where we stopped building these missiles. Hey, but they've been still building from back in those days as well, too. They said they were supposed to stop testing these missiles. But like they said, the Tsar Bomba was the biggest and the last tested they didn't test it. But obviously, they tested them more even to the same day. It says the Air Force has 400 active Minuteman III missiles in its inventory and typically does 4 test launches each year. So you see what I'm saying? So look, the U.S. aimed to start testing and replacing the Minuteman III, the ground-based strategic deterrent missile, by the end of 2023. The full ground-based strategic deterrent fleet is scheduled to be replaced or be in place by 2036, meaning the missiles, which was originally designed to be in service for 10 years, will have been on the job for as long as 66 years. So, hey, how the hell you gonna replace the old missiles with some new missiles if you ain't supposed to be developing no more missiles, man? You see how this damn devil work? But the point is I wanted to grab was, you know, going into how 200 million missiles, man. Well, we say missiles, but hey, when these warheads start raining down on you, you know what I'm saying? You look at one missile, but in that one missile, they got multiple warheads, man. And they can rain them things down on you and cause havoc on your land, man. All right? Now let's go back to the scriptures. Jeremiah. Oh, hold on. Did we get all this over here? Oh, we did. Let's go back to Jeremiah 51. And or Jeremiah 50 and was it 23? 22. All right. Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says, "A sound of battle was in the land and of great destruction." All right. So, hey, going back to we was reading about how homeboys hands wax feeble. All right, because why? They know that hey, they dealing with a nuclear power, a very capable nuclear power, man. And if they was to go to war with this nuclear power, are they really ready for them? Russia has been advancing their weaponry and everything else like that, and America's still over here trying to test some shit that they didn't develop in the 70s, man. Russia just recently came out with a new, man, we got some new pilot shit, bro. We got that new. The hell y'all gonna do, man? And we got a missile defense system that's they getting ready to go right now, but they saying, look, man, we can hit y'all shit before it even launch up out of y'all silos, bro. We can knock y'all shit the fuck out, man. All right, we got the S-550. They dubbed it as what? The satellite killers, man. So we can hit your shit while it's in orbit, man. We can knock your satellites off. How you say? Drop their communication systems because, hey, man, you know we would say back in the olden days, whoever had a maritime, the greatest maritime army has superiority over the battlefield, man. Now whoever has air superiority has superiority over the battlefield, man. But really now, even over top of that, is whoever has the more satellites and communications is far more superior than everybody. Because look, what good is having all these planes if you ain't got no radars and nothing like that to find out where the missile defense systems are at, man? Or what good is having missile defense systems if you don't have the radars to be able to find this stuff, man? Or how you gonna even know where your target is if you can't communicate with these people left and right, man? If they was telling you, hey, look, man, there was a target over there, we want you to go over there and blow that shut up, and you flying over there, but then all of a sudden that target got taken out, we need you to reroute and go somewhere else, and you don't even know about that because why? Your communications is shut down, man. All right, look up the NORAD system, man. It's basically a global GPS system of everything flying in the damn air, everything that's airborne, satellites and everything else like that. You can go look that up, the NORAD system and how it looks, videos of it. All right, imagine NORAD going down, man. All right, if NORAD goes down to the NOAA system, NOAA is basically in the water. NORAD is pretty much in the air, man. Imagine these satellites and things like that going down, and then you can't see incoming planes, incoming missiles, and everything else like that going off, man. All right. This is how America would know if there was a nuclear launch. You know, they're like, oh shit, we see some movement in the air, just like in the water, man. The little buoy system. If you ever seen the movie Battleship, right? They was like just like the old game Battleship, man. They was able to be able to track them without certain radars by looking at what the buoys that was moving up and down inside the water. You know, going back into the what they call the NOAA system. All right. Basically, you know, they're looking at the you know, that's how they track storms and everything else like that. The rise and the pressure in the air and everything else like that. The waves and everything going up and down. So, hey, man, they're able to track these things by that. But look, if you lose that communication, all right, and the buoy systems don't work no more in the water, the NOAA system not going to work and tell you, hey, bro, there's a tsunami that's coming towards the shore, man. All these buoys are starting to go up and down like that. Hey, you ain't going to be able to tell nobody. Then guess what? You swept off unaware because of what? The how you call it? The tsunami that rolled upon you, man, because your systems are down, man. Same with a nuke being launched off into space, man. All right, you seeing this here thing flying through the space and everything else like that. The satellites is picking it up and tracking this bad boy. Guess what? You knock that bad boy out. Hey, man, you can sit there and launch all your shit at them and they ain't gonna never see it coming, man. So, hey, you know, Russia got these so-called what they call satellite killers, man. The S-550s on their ass, man. And big body Benzes on their ass, man. All right, riding in style. All right, styling and profiling. Ric Flair joke. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 22 says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. Why? Because there's going to be multitudes in the valley of decisions, man. It's going to be a major meat grinder, man. Nobody's going to be coming back from this here war, man. Let me grab this other precept real quick. This is 2nd Ezra 16. And 33, just to the point. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. So, and these are all women that's going to be left manless, right? And why are they going to be left manless, man? Where is all the men going to be going at, man? You know, when there's a great conflict, a great war that's going on, what happens in those points of times? You have what they call a draft. They start drafting men. That's why we read earlier about multitudes in the valley of decisions. It says, verse 34, in their wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. All right, so hey, man, in their wars they're gonna be how we say, buried in the sands of times over there, man. They're gonna get shipped off the war, but they're not gonna come back, man. All right, multitudes in the valley of decisions, man. They're gonna all be buried over there, man. So they're not coming back, man. All right, let's read it again. It says Jeremiah 50 and 22, a sound of battle is in the land of great destruction, man. You know, World War I, World War II. Matter of fact, let me look this up real quick, because you know, you think about, man, they say that in that event that happened in New York in 2001, a lot of people died, right? You know, they say they need another so-called event. They need another so-called event like the event that happened, you know, to push forward their agenda and things like that. Even with the so-called illness that went forth, they had, oh, we got a lot of deaths and there's a lot of massive casualties, a lot of great death and all these things going on. But in reality, man, that wasn't a lot of deaths, man. All right, the people that died in 2001, that wasn't a lot of people, man. This is, it says the number of deaths in World War I. The total number of military and civilian casualties in World War I was around 40 million. All right, now, and really, I think it was a little bit more than, a hell of a lot more than that, really. But it says there were 20 million deaths and 21 million wounded. So shit, for just about the same amount of people that died, there was the same amount of people that was wounded. You know what I'm saying? And the ones that died, they don't even count them as being wounded. They just, them niggas died. You know, and then you got another, so like what, 40 million people was affected, man. All right. It says the total number of deaths include 9.7 million military personnel and about 10 million civilians. And really, like I said, I believe that these numbers are doctored, because there was some numbers before we were looking at. It was a lot higher than that. But nevertheless, hey man, there's yeah, there was a lot more people that wound up dying from so-called casualties and things like that than that was actually in the war. Let me Yeah. So, oh, this is a good chart right here. So we'll go back and look at this. But here's one that says these are the number of deaths in major wars. So the Soviet and Afghan war, basically, you know, when they had the Mujahideen scenario with Russia and America fighting, they did a little shit. 79 and 89, 1 million people died. Vietnam, 3 million people died. Nigerian Civil War, 3 million people died. The Second Congo War, 5.4 million people died. Chinese Civil War, 7 million. Russian Civil War, 7 million. World War I, 14 million. 14 to 20 million. It says Second Sino-Japanese War, 15 to 20 million. World War II, and this is in the span of what, 6 years, let's say between 35 and 60 million. All right, and really and shit, the total deaths of war since 9/11 in these different places from Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Pakistan, a total of 800,000 people. So less than 1 million people died over the last 20 years in those Middle Eastern wars. But hey, in these world wars, they get busy out there, man. So let's go back. All right, and so here's a little bit more number. It says an estimated of 70 to 85 million people perished, about 3% of the 2.3 billion estimate, the people on Earth in 1940. Deaths directly caused by war, including military and civilian fatalities, are estimated between 50 and 56 million, with an estimated 19 to 28 deaths from war-related disease and famine. So, hey, man, these are massive numbers, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, imagine like a third of the population of America just dying off, man. That's a whole huge heap. But hey, this here war that's coming upon the earth now, man, it's gonna outnumber that, man. All right, because look, America, we know America gonna be turned into the lake of fire, man, and ultimately, all these, you know, this place, like I said, America's gonna be turned into the lake of fire. Right, but you have, you know, some people that you have the elect that's going to be delivered up out of here, so you can minus that number, right? But that's going to be a small remnant comparison to the total number of people here in America, man. You got 330 million people here in America, right? Let's just minus the elect, all right? But then you have the rest of these Americans here now. They're going to be dying of what? Famine, war, how do you call it? People running inside each other's homes, slashing, dashing each other, and everything else like that. But the rest of them that's over here, all right, when World War III take place, the ones that's going to basically be missile food, the ones that take the chip, you know, you can count that as a total loss. So if everybody wound up dying over here, let's just say, you know, we don't know how many people is of the elect, you know, or of the 1/3, but let's just say hypothetically, you know, we fuck it, we could just take, let's just say 30 million people, right? Out of the 330 million people, that means 300 million people still gonna die over here, man. That's way more than World War I and World War II combined, man. All right, and that's just here in America, and it's gonna be this devastation around the rest of the globe as well, too, man. So again, going into the multitudes, you know, and the value of decisions, all these different things is going coming to pass at these points of times. Hey, this is what you're seeing happening, man. All right, this is what you're seeing these people getting geared up for right now, man. This is what you're starting to see. Hey, just like in the Ukraine war, you had people, fighters, celebrities, people that wasn't even in the military in those times being, you know, they was putting on the news how they was calling upon their civilians, come down and get guns, let's go to war, let's go fight. Hey, everybody at that point in time was mounting up, because it's like it's either do or die, man. If we don't go to war, we can't depend on our military. Look how they was fighting, man. You know, Russia sent what, a small percentage. Let me see what this number is real quick. Boom. So let me see. Damn. This is the Russian army I looked up. It says how many soldiers in the Russian army. It says they comprise, the Russian army, it says comprised of the world's 5th largest military. So they're the 5th largest, with at least 2 million what is that? At least 2 million military reserve personnel. So shit, they've got more than 2 million. So they got about a total about 2 million, right? They say damn. No, they got about 3 million. They got 1 million active and 2 million in reserve. So hell, they put what was that? What, like 1% or 10%? 10% of their damn soldiers out there to fight with them Ukrainians. 100,000 troops. That's what, 10% of their whole military against, which is the equivalent to the whole Ukrainian military size, man. They're like, yo, bro, we can only use 10% of our people. We can still go fight 10 more wars of the same size in 10 different other locations, man. So, hey, man, it's going to be multitudes and multitudes in the Valley of Decisions. And guess what? They're going to be recruiting and, how they say, drafting more people to go, man. So, going back to 2nd Ezra 16 real quick, in 33, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In their war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So, hey, man, if they don't wind up dying of war, you know, and getting drafted over there, because, you know, not every male in America going to get drafted to go over there, man. You know, you got the least amount of people to be drafted. I was watching some of these World War III memes. What was the boy named Mentally Mitch? And he was like, don't worry. A lot of you Americans are unfit for war anyway. You're obese, overweight, incompetent, lazy, don't want to do shit, stupid as hell, don't know how to do nothing. You know, you got a lot of these men. We're not even talking about women. We got a lot of you stupid ass men that's making fucking TikTok videos dancing and shit, man. You're not the type of people we want to go over there to give a gun to go to war and everything else like that, man. So, hey, man, you know, a lot of these men not even fit for war, man. They gonna wind up just dying over here, man. All right, you know why they over there cowering under they table, eating their little bonbons and Twinkies and things like that, man. A lot of them gonna wind up dying over here, man. Over their last little meal and everything else like that. But hey, the rest of those boys is getting shipped off overseas. They not coming back, man. All right, it's gonna be a lack of these men and abundance of these women. This is why, hey, you know, as a side note, we say, hey, there's gonna be a lot more women being saved and delivered. That's going into that Isaiah 4:1. All right, there's gonna be 7 women or a complete number of women coming to the men because there's gonna be an overabundance of them, man. So at that point in time, man, hey, they're gonna just willingly be coming, like, hey, man, we ain't got no helpers at this point in time. Let us come be, let us have your name. We'll be your wife. Just take this approach away from us because we ain't got nobody to protect us, no hedge now, man. So we want you to be our hedge. We see that you out here faring well and everything else like that and doing well. So, hey, let us, you protect us in these times, man. All right, and that's what a wise person would say at that point in time. Hey, man, if I done lost my protection, I need to go find protection somewhere else, man. All right, they're going to realize when they get that, what they call that knock on the door or that phone call where they get that little folded up flag. Like, yo, look, man, you know, John didn't make it. You know, here's the little flag. They're gonna send you, you know, your daughter gonna be looking out the window at her mom crying and shit like that, man. They're like, hey, man, he gone, man. All right, then what? They gonna wise up real quick, man. Shit, this guy's out here still faring well, man. He's not shaking like the rest of these men out here. He's not feeble like the rest of these men. I'm talking about a man of the Lord, man. Let me go ahead and grab that real quick before we get back to this. All right, because hey, once these things start popping off, you know, you read these figures and these numbers about things like that that's going on. All right. Yeah, we're gonna read that. We're gonna also read this. When you read about these numbers of these men, you know, and all the things that's going on, man, you see about this major meat grinder, man. You realize that, hey, man, once these things start playing out, you see how these things actually come to pass, man. Give me a second real quick. Looking for a different precept. I got one. Let me just read this real quick. Isaiah 13 and where is it at? Isaiah 13 and 12 says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man of the golden wedge of Ophir. So, hey, you know, at a time like this, you know, having gold and things like that is super valuable. It's beneficial for you to have, man. Hey, in a time like now where economies are collapsing and people you can't afford this and can't afford that, gas prices going up. What's the most valuable thing for you to have right about now, man? It's, hey, I got a good bank account, man. If you already living paycheck to paycheck, you're gonna be out of here quick, man. But if you got a whole major bank vault full of gold and shit like that, hey man, you're not really worried about, chicken prices that went up a little bit, gas prices went up a couple. You're not worried about that shit. You got a whole vault of gas, man. You stable at that point in time, man. You good. So what the scriptures say, let me read it again. Isaiah 13:12 says, I will make a man. And what kind of man? A man of the Lord, man. Because we just read about how these men gonna be losing their lives over in war. The simple ones is going joining hand in hand. The ones the Lord's gonna use them as that sacrifice and have them being brought up to go over there, man. All right, hey, if you're a man of the Lord, man, the Lord's not gonna have you in that position. And even if He does put you in that position, He'll deliver you up out of there, man. Because hey, His elect is gonna be delivered no matter what, no matter where they are, they're gonna be delivered up out of there, man. They're not slated for these here deaths over here, man. The rest of these people is for the wicked, man. All right, it says, therefore, Isaiah 13:12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. All right. So hey, going back into these comparisons, all right, when these things come to pass, man, when these wars and rumors of wars and famines and things like that is taking place, man, the men of the Lord are gonna be stable, man. Wisdom now is gonna be stability at that time. You're not gonna be easily shaken at these things, man. You're not gonna be trying to gear up and go to war and lose your life. Like I said, man, little Becky out there, you know what I'm saying? She gonna be out there in the household. She gonna be with John, and they gonna hear about the war that's popping off. And John gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna go over here and fight for my country. Like I said, the Ukrainian folk, man, they got actors and boxers and shit like that trying to go fight for their country. But look, man, Becky gonna be like, John, don't go. John gonna be like, no, I'm gonna go fight for my country. He gonna get shipped up over there. All right, 2-3 weeks later, they gonna be getting that phone call, or they gonna be knocking on the door with that folded up flag. Becky gonna be crying her eyes out, man. And when them tears dry up and things start settling down, she might be looking out across the street, you know what I'm saying, seeing Jake over there just chilling, man. Call hello, how about Shimmy out over there toasting up with some yayan, man. Hey, man, fuck it, man. Babylon going down. Like, how is he over here? You know how the scripture says it's better to go in the house of mourning than the house of mirth. At that point in time, you know, so let me grab this real quick. Not to be as a contradiction to that, because hey, tables is gonna turn real soon here, man. All right. This is Isaiah 65. Let me start at verse 12. It says, Therefore will I number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called you did not answer, and when I spake you did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that where I delighted not. So 2/3 of our people that didn't want to answer the call, they're gonna be, you know, part of that number that's gonna be shipped out and sacrificed in the day of the Lord, man. All right, but what for His elect, man, is gonna be different. It says, Therefore thus saith Yahweh power, behold, my servants shall eat. All right, key word, my servants, those that serve the Lord, man. It says, Behold, my servants shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. So hey, in the time of famine, when people are invading one another for the lack of bread and everything else like that, man, they gotta go fight for their food, man. The elect gonna be sitting back chilling, caked up, man, eating, and you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, y'all niggas can't find no chicken. You know, hey, and we've seen things like this happen, man. You know, where things are getting a little scarce and everything else like that, and the people at the spot that's trying to hook us up, they come hook us up with more than, hey, look, all right, you know how they have to weigh certain things. We're gonna put a little bit in there, weigh it, get you a little barcode for it, and we're gonna pile some more shit in there. We're gonna hook y'all up tonight. We're gonna give y'all some extras on top of that, man. Here, go take this and take that. Here go a free one for you, man. Here go take another one for you, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be hooked up like that, and end all be all, man. All right, hey, even when the pandemic started and everything else like that, man, everybody walking through the grocery stores all sad face, all looking down, all trying to get whatever they can get. Hey, but the men of the Lord was going through the grocery stores buying some yayan and getting some chicken, and hey, man, we about to go back and have a good time, man. We about to go and turn up. And they're like, why y'all so happy? What the fuck y'all happy about, man? We can't afford shit out here. Everything is going bad. Ain't no toilet paper. Like, bro, we not worried about that kind of shit, man. We worried about just rejoicing and watching Babylon go down. We trying to go get some popcorn and some yayan, bro. We trying to watch the downfall of this bitch, man. Like, how can you be happy about the downfall? Because these are our captors, man. We not with these niggas, man. We trying to get saved. We trying to get redeemed up out of here, man. See, you on a different type of time than we on, man. That's why you mad. You mad because this is your happiness, man. This ain't our happiness, man. This place is polluted. This place is gonna destroy us, man. We not rejoicing in this bullshit, man. All right. So it says, verse 14, Isaiah 65:14. It says, Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall have for vexation of spirit. So like I said, man, Becky, you know, she done married John, and they was all living it up and all happy and doing everything that's going on. And while you over here suffering and sorrowing and trying to just live paycheck to paycheck, then all of a sudden war pop off, shit start hitting the fan. John, I'm a patriot, I'm American, I'm standing up for my rights, I'm going over here to fight. They go get shipped the fuck off to war. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, 2 weeks later, Becky get that flag folded up. She come crying. You know what I'm saying? Once some tears start drying up and she's getting out all that shock, she start looking around like she's the only one distraught. She looking at Jake on the other side of across the street. Jake over there turning up, man. They got the music going. You know what I'm saying? They over there sipping yayan. She's like, how can you be over here partying at a time like this? Men are dying in the war. Like, y'all stupid ass shouldn't have went over there. This for y'all in and everything else like that. And she's like, well, what am I gonna do, man? They talking about people are coming and raiding the houses for food and for bread and all these different things. Let me go ahead and bring that out, man. Because hey, these are the times, hey, man, when all this shit start coming to pass, man, it's gonna get real out there, man. Then you're gonna know who's the Lord's elect, man. There's gonna be a great divide. All right. This second Ezra is 15. Or wait. Second Ezra is 16. Actually, we're gonna start in Second Ezra 16 first. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? All right, and so, hey, man, that's what a righteous man is saying. So how much more is the rest of these damn people out here, man? Oh shit, what are we gonna do when this here stuff start coming to pass, man? How we gonna eat? How we gonna survive? How we gonna live, man? So famines, death, great mourning, all these things is coming to pass, man. It's not gonna be a happy setting out there, man. You gonna see, like I said, Becky gonna be out there shook, man. She ain't gonna know what the fuck to do, man. This is when they gonna be like, look, man, look. I gotta read it real quick. Isaiah 4:1 says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by our name to take away our reproach. All right, because hey, man, you know they gonna start to realize, hey, y'all doing all right. Y'all, you know, y'all something is different about y'all. Y'all must be the men of the Lord. You know how Wisdom of Solomon 5 say, hey, man, if this was him who we had sometimes reproach, how the hell is he accounted amongst the children of Israel or the children of the Lord, the saints, and we not? They gonna realize, oh shit. And guess what? They're gonna realize at that point in time, hey, we need to be getting with these men. All right, look, we'll do whatever we gotta do. We'll take, because right now, in order to get with these women, you gotta be able to buy them Birkin bags, take them to Dubai and all kind of shit, take care of them. Hey, but at this point in time, they're gonna be willing to, hey, you know, they single, independent, they take care of their own shit. They're gonna be willing to take you in. Hey, look, man, we'll cook. We got food. We'll cook for you. You can stay in our house. Look, just protect us. Make sure that we straight up in here, man. That's what they're gonna be asking for right now. They're not gonna be a bunch of these independent women out there like, oh, we can take care of ourselves. Nah, man. They're gonna be like, look, take away our reproach. We talked all this here shit, but look, we need you now. We need you now more than ever, man. You know, when you started seeing the police coming down on Jake and all kind of different things, you know, the so-called black woman was out there saying, oh, we don't need our men. We don't need it. They talk so much shit about their men for so long, but then when the police start killing their sons and killing their husbands and stuff, and when they start saying, where's the black man at? How can a black man don't want to stand up for the black woman? Well, y'all kicked us to the curb. But see, in this point in time, when these things start coming to pass, man, like I said, man, they got their man and their man get killed off in a war. All right, and they realize that they so-called macho man wasn't able to save them, deliver them. They're going to be looking back. All right, they start thinking with a sober mind. All right, but these brothers over here, something different about them, man. They all right. All right, they don't have the same look on their defeated look on their face like everybody else around us, man. Like I said, we was going into the grocery stores and things like that when the toilet paper things was going down, laughing, smiling, and smirking, and going to work where everybody else was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. But I remember working with this one fucking Edomite, man. This nigga came to work shook. Like somebody tortured his ass. This nigga just looking side by side, like smoking the goddamn chicken coop, man. I'm like, man, give me my shit. Let me go on and go to work, man. You know what I'm saying? But as going forth to show the difference in the countenance of these men, man. The men of the Lord gonna be like the golden wedge of Ophir, very valuable in that time, man. These women gonna be cleaving unto you in that day, man. Because you're gonna be, wisdom and knowledge gonna be the stability of that time, and what? You gonna be her hedge, man. You gonna be able to guide her. Look, we ain't going out that way. No, we ain't taking this here chip. No, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing that, man. We gonna go this way. We gonna lead you that way, man. And they gonna, the wise of them, the ones that the Most High is gonna wake up to them to deliver them. They gonna be right there with it. They ain't gonna be no talking back, man. You know how they talk about they want a submissive woman nowadays? Man, fuck all that shit right now, man. You don't need none of that shit right now, man. All this new talk with Kevin Samuels and all that shit. Hey, man, it's gonna be by default that these women gonna be put into that predicament, man. Just like how we woke up to this here truth, man. We find out about all this wicked shit that's going down and how we can't defend ourselves. What did that put us into a state of capitulation? Fuck, we need a savior. We need salvation. I can't do this on my own, man. No matter how much money I got, how much guns I got in there, I can't save myself from this. I need a higher power than me, man. That's what's gonna humble these women in that day, man. They gonna come to the Most High's gonna open up their minds. Shit, I need a bro, I need salvation, man. And the only way for me to get salvation, like the scripture say, they're gonna be saved during with childbearing, man. They're gonna come to a man of the Lord. They're gonna be more valuable. The men of the Lord are gonna be more valuable than the golden wedge of Ophir. That's gonna be your golden ticket up out of here, man. So in that point in time, they're gonna already, like I said, they're gonna already be, some of them gonna have husbands and men that's out there in the war. They gonna, like I said, they get that folded up flag. Well, that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Or they got their husband at the house, and their husband got all these guns and everything. Their gun lockers going out and all this training at the fucking gun range and everything else like that, man. First day, man, they wound up getting smoked out here, man. Let's go back to that in 2nd Ezra 16. All right. It says, behold, famines and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent for scourges for an amendment. But for all these things, they should not turn away from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. All right. So, hey, man, let me jump down to verse 21. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the others shall escape the hunger, shall the sword destroy. All right, so hey, let me keep going. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down, and there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it, man. So hey, it's gonna be a shortage of men out here, man. Whether they die in the wars and things like that, man, it's gonna be a real shortage of men. All right, and the men that you are gonna see that's gonna be stable, that's gonna be held back from all these things, is gonna be who? The men of the Lord, man. They're going to be preserved and reserved from going out here to catch this here death, man. All right, 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 14 says, woe unto the world, and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up to fight, stand up against Salat. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and of course their actions stand in their power. So hey, this is on the home front, man. We read about those that was gonna lose their lives in the wars and things like that, but this now is on the home front, man. You got a scarcity of food, all right. You got people going door to door, kicking in doors and stuff for what? Bread, lack of bread and things like that. So what? You gonna have these people that's out here battling it out over here, man. So again, whether they die in the wars or they die of famine, just starving to death looking for food. Can't find food. You got some of these weak ass men out here that ain't gonna be able to go and find you no food. Can't strong arm the next man to go get some food, a bag of rice. You got these soft simping ass men that's out here on the highways and the byways. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jake in the spirit over there. Jake definitely, he might come back. Jake in the spirit. But yeah, for some of these men that's just not really with it, man. Hey man, the next man gonna come over there and strong arm your shit and take your shit, man. All these men that's more worried about making their TikToks and dyeing their hair all these flamboyant ass colors and shit. They gonna be the first ones to lay the fuck down, man. All right, and guess what? These women that's with these men is more worried about their designer clothes and looking all fresh and everything else like that. Hey, in that point in time, they gonna fold up real quick, man. And these women, hey, more Jake in the spirit. These women, they gonna know, man, because women is attached to power, man. All right, look at the women on a massive scale right now. Especially these Edomite women, man. All right, these Edomite women typically was. They was with their man when their man was in power and shit like that. But now they like, man, they casting their own man down the block, man. They seeing Jake rise up, and then no, we wanna be with him. You know what I'm saying? We wanna cleave unto him, cause he look like he coming in the power. He look like he know what the hell he got going on. These niggas is stumbling and fumbling every time they get the damn ball, man. So now we wanna get away from them. They calling their own people out. They trying to what? Get some Jake seeds up into them, man. But hey, man, that ain't really gonna help out for them. I mean, the kids is gonna make it, but you know what I'm saying? If the Lord allow, if that man, wind up being saved, him and his seed, that seed gonna be saved. But hey, man, if they're Edomite, they just a goddamn Edomite, man. But nevertheless, hey, man, you see the tone of these women nowadays. They starting to look at power, man. Even though Jake is in this fucked up state, they starting to cleave under Jake right about now, man. They all look at the Kardashians, man. All right, they all want some melanated men, basically, man. They all want Jakes, man. They ain't trying to go over there. Well, yeah, you see them all with Jake men. You see them saying they're not trying to go get with these so-called powerful men in Hollywood because they seeing what we used to call it the Jake over, man. They starting to see these things come to pass, man. So hey, it's just gonna be like that in that day, man. Like I said, man, when John loses his life in the war and leave Becky at home to be a widow, or John go out to go get some food and he ain't man enough to go get the food from the grocery store or whatever, so scared and he all feeble. Oh man, I'm scared to go out there. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Or somebody try to come up into their house and wind up putting his ass to death to get the damn food, and maybe don't even want Becky. Might leave Becky in there and just take the damn food, and then what Becky gonna do? It's instinctual, man. She's like, I need a hedge, man. Well, what's that movie called? The Book of Eli, right? That plays out perfectly in that movie, man. All right, you got the girl that's rolling around with the little mob, right? The little baddest mob that's on the whole block, man. Now they in the bar and everything, and Eli go up in there, like he wants some water and everything else like that. And then they don't even know at this point in time the nigga blind. But they go up in the bar, and he's in the bar with all the enemies. That's the toughest squad that's on the block. It's all of them. And now the girl is smart enough to know she gonna go with them, her and her mama. She just with them. She don't like her position, but she with them. But Eli go in there and whoop all their asses and shit like that. Her mama's like, look, you need to go with this nigga because he can protect you. These niggas can't protect you. He just whooped all their asses. There's more of them than him, and he done outdid all of them, so you need to go with them. You know what I'm saying? And then the girl was like, look, I'll take care of my own self. Look, he said, you will be a burden unto me. I don't need this extra weight on me. She's like, no. I'll be a help. I'll cook for you. I'll clean for you. I'll get some water for you. I'll help you out on all these different things. Because instinctually, she just come to pass, look, man, if these dudes who's the baddest dudes on the block can't protect me, you can whoop all their asses, obviously I need to be with your ass, man. All right, just like in the modern day time nowadays, you see these women, they don't want what they say, they don't want no scrub, no broke ass nigga that's always calling her up to go, hey girl, let me borrow your car. Hey girl, let me come stay with you. Hey girl, let me borrow some money. She don't want you. She want the dude that can fly her out to a different country, a different place, and let her buy her a car, buy her a spot, buy her a condo. They gonna flow to the men that got that power. All right, so hey, again, in these days, man, it's gonna be a shortage of men and abundance of women. All right, and these women that's gonna be how I say willing in that day, they gonna come into who? The men of the Lord, man. This is how the nation of Israel is gonna be brought back, man. That's why the scripture said that we read it. Hey, it's gonna be 7 women come to 1 man. All right, a complete number of women. But let's go back to 2 Ezra 15. 2 Ezra 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So again, like I was saying, this is on the home front, man. When they over here fighting for the food in the grocery store, they got civil unrest at home and everything else like that, man. And these people wind up losing their lives and everything. So what you seen at the January 6th little insurrection, that was peaceful, man. The only person that lost their life was that one woman out there. She and a couple cops from heart attacks, but she got shot by the police, man. Imagine when the citizens go out there and they all armed, and then they being forced to face off against an armed militant group. You know what I'm saying? And it's just guns clashing and bullets flying, all kind of shit. Like in Kazakhstan not too long ago, man. All right, all you heard was women crying and things like that out in the streets, man. Men crying out in the streets, man. All right. Let me go and grab that up. We can close out here shortly, but this is this Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 5. It says, for thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear and not of peace. All right, because right now everybody think everything is all sweet. You know what I'm saying? This is why these women are with these little flamboyant men and everything else like that that's on TikTok and doing all these little dances and everything else like that, all fresh and everything else like that, and worried about what their appearance look like. But hey, man, when them bullets start flying, man, these women gonna be cleaving unto power. America made it so safe and so comfortable for these women. They can walk around the downtown areas with their booty cheeks all hanging out, their little box print all in the front in the middle of the night, man. By they goddamn self. That's how safe and comfortable these people are in the city that dwells carelessly, man. But when it comes time to, like, when we seen shit like Kazakhstan, we start hearing gunshots going off in the background and everything else like that, man. Men gonna be trembling. They gonna be hearing fear, man. All right, let's read it. Jeremiah 30 and 5. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces turn to paleness. So, hey, man, why do I hear every man with their hands on their loins like a woman in travail? Like he in birth pain, having birth pains, like he in labor, man. So if these men's is out here crying and screaming, man, like I said, like in the Kazakhstan scenario, man, hey, man, how much more these women, man? All right, you ain't gonna have no women till, I don't need no man. I'm an independent woman and everything else like that, man. I was watching some videos on Ukraine. Matter of fact, it was Apostle Tahar's video. He was showing like them going over in war. They was looking, you know, at the devastation and shit like that. And you had like this woman, she was just shell shocked, just blah, 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 stumbling over all her words, just stuck, man. She didn't know what the, man, I'm telling you, man. These people here are dwelling carelessly, man. The only time they ain't seen violence, real violence, bloodshed and dead bodies is on TV, man. All right, but once they start seeing, they walking down the hallway, they high-rise apartment building, all right, and they start smelling that stench of death, man. And they see their first dead body on the side of the, man, fuck it. When they see their first dead dog, man, first fucking dead dog on the side of the road, they're gonna be bugging the fuck out, man. All right, go back and look at what happened in New York in 2001, man. As them buildings was collapsing, all that dust was on them people's face, man. Them people was in shell shock. They ain't never seen no shit like that, man. And that was just an instance of one day, man. Imagine how much more when this is the everyday occurrence, man. When you waking up and going to bed, man, you hearing gunshots ringing out, and they just in their bed, just, oh my God, I don't know if somebody gonna kick in my door. Hey, man, they gonna be delusional, man, because they gonna be afraid to go to sleep, man. They gonna be hearing gunshots and things, people getting their doors kicked in, people screaming. They ain't gonna want to go to sleep, man. They gonna be staying awake for so long, but then it's just gonna be dementia unto them, man. All right, they gonna be like seeing all kind of shit out here, man. But guess what? Again, they gonna see the men of the Lord. They gonna, if it's, you know, and they're predestined for them to do this, they're gonna come across the man of the Lord. The men of the Lord gonna be stable, man. Men of the Lord, hey, just like in these times now where everybody was wondering what was going on, and everybody was like, oh, the pandemic and everything going on, and then just regular, you know, of the elect and things like that, seeing the men of the Lord, and they over here rejoicing, they over here fine, and they like, yo, man, why you, everybody else scared, everybody else is worried about this and that, you fine, what's going on? Let me know what you know. You know, the wise or the elect, you know, the wise men of these men out here was out there inquiring of the Lord in those times, man. So how much more these women that's going to be delivered in those points of time? This is why these men going to get an abundance of these women, man. Because, hey, man, they going to be like, look, bro, we understand what's popping. We need to let you be our hedge, man. Let's continue on. Going back, 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right, so, hey, man, this is what's going to wind up happening, man. These, let me see if I can pull out. This is Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 2. It says, a man shall be a hiding place from the wind, a covert from the tempest, as a river of water in dry places, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So if you out in a damn desert walking, right, and you dehydrated and things like that, the one thing you want to see is what? A stream of water, man. So you can drink and be rehydrated, man. You out in the broad sun with no hedge over top of you, the one thing you want is what? Shade, man. You get up out of that drawing sun. You get out of that drawing sun and everything else like that, man. So what you want that covering, man. So this is what these men of the Lord is going to be for what? For these women out here, man. You know, right now the men of the Lord are being what? A covering unto the elect. Hey, as far as bringing them into this here truth. All right? And what the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of that time. How are you going to get that? They're going to get that by hearing this here word. They have to be taught first, right? But how much more in the last days when these women, they're going to be looking for that hedge, man. All right? You know, it wasn't really for them to be built up in all this and getting all this here knowledge. Hey, for them, it's just the fall in line, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a child, man, to a parent. It's not for a child to understand how bills and things work and how to do this and how to do that. All they got to do is follow their parent, man. The parent going, how the car work? How do I know how much gas is in the car? Hey, don't worry about all that. Just get in the car. Let me worry about all that. When was the last time the oil? The 3-year-old don't need to know when the last time the oil was changed and when the last time he put gas in the car. He just get in the car and follow the parent, man. Same way with these here women, all right? It says, Isaiah 32 and 2, it says, a man shall be a hiding place from the wind, a covert from the tempest, as the rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So, hey, man, that man is going to be that hedge for those women in those days, man. All right? Let me, 1 second. Find this other precept real quick. This is Isaiah 13 and let me just start at verse 14. It says, and it shall be as a chased roe, as a sheep that no man taketh up, and they shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. All right, and hey, that's everybody getting away from these damn Edomites first and foremost. And everyone that is found shall be thrust through, everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So, hey, like I was going into, hey, man, you want to cleave into these people. If you're not a man of the Lord, man, you might be persuaded, oh, let me go join the military. You're going to die over in the Middle East, man. Oh, you going over here try to fight it out with these people and stuff. You're going to die out here with these people because you're fighting against the Lord. See, you still cleaving onto this mindset of being here with these Babylonians instead of departing from that and cleaving unto the Lord, man. Letting the Lord guide you, letting the Lord be your way. All right. It says, their children also, verse 16, verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed into pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. So, hey, man, at a point in time where these things is coming to pass, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, let me read the next verse. It says, verse 17 and 18, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men into pieces. They shall have no pity upon the fruit of their womb, and their eyes shall not spare their children. So again, in these points of time, man, you have Russians coming over here and invading this here place. They're not going to have no mercy onto you, man. You have these people that's out here fighting for bread, which we're going to finish off over there. These people over here fighting for the lack of bread, they're not going to have mercy onto you, man. But what? The men of the Lord, they're going to be protected in these things, man. Like the scripture we read earlier, hey, the men of the Lord, they're going to eat, but you're going to be hungry, man. All right? The men of the Lord are going to be delivered, but, you know, a lot of these men are going to die of famine, man. All right? The Lord is going to preserve his elect and deliver them out of here. But, hey, some of these men are going to be shipped off and go over to war, man. All right? So, let's go back and finish off not Isaiah, 2nd Ezra 15, and verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So, hey, you know, going into all these independent women that don't need no man, hey, if these men gonna be afraid, where's the room for these women at, man? All right, how they gonna be able to fare in these points of times? Like I said, when real shit start hitting the fan, that's what the first thing they're gonna do is cleave unto a man, and not just any man. They're gonna cleave unto a man of the Lord, man. And again, we seen small examples of these things when the pandemic came on around, man. All right, not just with women flocking into us, but hey, relatives, family members, and friends and stuff like that used to laugh and scoff about the things we believe. But when these things came to pass, guess what? Our phones was blowing up. What's going on? What's this mean? What that mean? They want to get all religious. Hey, you still go out and preach where you go preach it. Let us watch some of your videos. Let us try to get this understanding, man. How much more in that day with these women, man? All right. It says, verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Again, they going from door to door, house to house on the home front, man. All right, hey, Becky may not lose her husband in war. She may lose her husband going down to the grocery store, man, or in the middle of the night while he's sleeping, man. You know what I'm saying? Just break into the house, kill the husband, leave the wife because she feeble anyway, and take their damn bread and just keep it moving, man. Oh, I don't need this bitch no way because I got my own shit going. I just came over for the bag of rice. But homeboy was over here between me and the bag of rice, so I put this nigga to death and left little Becky in there screaming and hollering and everything else like that. So once Becky get done crying and screaming and everything else like that, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden now, she's looking out the window for somebody to save her. She's looking for some type of help, man. And now she's like, look, I got this and that. She might bring it to the man of the Lord, man. Hey, I got this here food. Just look, come protect me, man. Come, you know, take away my reproach. Verse 8:19 says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. All right. So again, you know, you might have John and Jeff living next door to one another, man. All right. And then all of a sudden they, you know, lacking food, and they ain't not gonna have no pity on his neighbor. He gonna run up in his neighbor's house and put his ass to death, man. Leave his wife as a widow, man. All right. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So it's not far-fetched to see how these things are going to start coming to pass, man. Whether they die off in the wars because they got drafted, or whether they wasn't eligible for draft for, you know, whatever reason they got, or they didn't want to go and fight, or they stood up as a militia over here when things started hitting the fan, you know, the uproars of the people. They went out there to riot and protest and got killed off into that, man. All right. You living in these apartment buildings and your neighbor's not having no pity on you, kicking in your door, and you the only thing standing between you and that bag of rice. And these women gonna go through a hard shell shock, man. They're gonna know and understand the reason of why they need a man. This is why you're gonna have this major turning point, man. Because hell, they might see they man, they big buff nigga get put to death right there in front of their ass, man, screaming like a bitch, man. All right, then they gonna realize, look, might ain't in the strength of this man's arm, man. It's gotta be something different to preserve me in these days, man. And you might be talking and you might, you know, she might hear your words and things like that. She might be watching your videos, man. And you know, the ones watching your videos, you know, they're a lot more to be able to catch it first and foremost. But you know, you might be at work or something like that, you know, working around these bitches, and you might be the so-called lame, but every time you talk, you know, you hear these oh man, you wise, you think a lot different. Let me hear what this person got to say. Let me hear what Dave got to say about this and that. You think a little bit different than other people. You think about things a little different ways and everything. They're gonna be remembering shit like that, man. They're gonna be remembering some of these women. Hey, if the Lord decide to have mercy on them, they're gonna remember why they want to believe you. Always talking that deep stuff. You always into this. You always into that. You always thinking about these types of things. But guess what? She gonna realize, well, all them other niggas that was worried about their appearance, the flashiness, and everything else that was going on, they all dead. And the one that was worried about these things that was coming down the pipeline, it's actually coming down the pipeline. I bet you he got a plan right about now. Let me go over and find out where he at, man. All right, so this is how this is going to come to play in Isaiah 4:1. And it says, in that day, 7 women, or a complete number of women, shall take hold of one man. All right, going into what? A man of the Lord is going to be that, like, more valuable than the golden wedge of Ophir, or that covering cast, man. It says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. All right, nowadays you got to take care of these women. You got to be able to buy them a back. What can you do for me? What do you know? You say, you ask them what they bring to the table. They said they are the table. You got to bring something to me. All right, you got to bring your goods into me. You got to have a good house, a good car, good job, 6 figures, buy me Birkin bags every month and everything else like that. And it ain't gonna be no women like that. I ain't getting with you unless you buy me a Birkin bag. They gonna be like, this is what they gonna say. It says, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. The only thing they gonna want from you is that protection, that hedge, man. That's the only thing that they're going to be seeking for, that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, that guidance, that protection, man. To be able to guide them in the right way so they don't be turned into powder and dust, man. To be smoked into oblivion, man. This is going to be the one determining factor between, you know, those women that's going to make it and the women that's not going to make it, man. They're going to humble themselves down, whereas the rest of these women, they're going to be proud as hell, man. All right, you be proud. Go out there with your man. I ain't with this and I ain't with that. I don't need no man. All right, you don't need no man once they start kicking in them damn doors. All right, and spoiling your goods for the lack of bread, you're going to be screaming, I don't need no man. Well, take your macho ass and fight this nigga for this last loaf of bread where he ain't going to have no pity. And not sparing you or your little 3-year-old son or your 3-year-old daughter. He put a bullet in both of y'all heads, man, and take your little last loaf of bread. Bet you're going to be wishing you had Ray Ray or Dante or the man of the Lord at that point in time, man. But, hey, man, it's going to all come to a full circle, man. But, hey, ultimately, this is why the men of the Lord was out here to do what? To warn the people, man. We'll close out with that, as a matter of fact. All right, we were set up as these watchmen to warn the people, man. All right, get you prepared for these things that's coming to pass. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman into the house of Israel. All right, for our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman into the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. These aren't our words, man. These are the words of the Most High. We're not saying these things to try to get all these women and everything else like that. Like I was saying earlier, man, right now ain't really the best time for you to be getting no women and things like that. It could be a distraction unto you, man. So you all caught up with these here women in these times, and now you've stopped watching and everything else like that. Now you getting caught like a thief in the night, man. You ain't no good to you yourself, and you don't no good to her. But look, in these times when these things come to pass, by default, man, they're gonna be converted onto you with the quickness, man. All right, so hey, this is why we're supposed to be giving them that warning, man. So, or going back into these aren't our words. These are the Most High's words, man. And like I just broke it down, this is going to be by default. It's going to snap into place, man. All right. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. When I shall say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked ways to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thy hand. So, like I said, man, we have to have time to sit out here and warn the people, man, to feed the sheep, man. So again, like I was saying, man, you got a woman on this side. It's not really the time for all that right now, but you out here, you don't have time to feed the sheep. He gonna die in his iniquity, but the blood gonna be required at your hand. So you not only didn't save him, all right, you ain't save yourself, and then that woman you was chasing after, you ain't save her ass either. All y'all finna die, all right? Verse 19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked ways, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. So, hey, it'd be more profitable for you to be out here working for the Lord. All right, so that, hey, look, that nigga didn't want to listen. That's on him. I told them. That's on them if they didn't want to listen. But at least I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord may have mercy on me and my household and those that I love, man, and I care about, man. The Lord's will that be the case. But I done did my job. The blood is off of my hands. Verse 20. Again, when the righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sins, but the righteousness he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thy hand. All right. Nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man that the righteous sin not, and he doth not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned, and thou hast delivered thy soul. So that's what we out here to do, man, to warn the people, man, ultimately, man. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord's will, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakak Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that root well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.